Invader, this is for the invader. Invader, send home the invader. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Give them all praises, give them all praises. Where the fuck am I going? Who the hell could I be? All this time I've been lost. Vessel trapped in the sea. Chains holding my legs. I just want to be free. Fist picking my throat. Hell yeah, and they know it. Heritage keep going. You can see it in my phenotypes and that damn Indian showing. This knowledge keeping me steady. 45 on my hip and my armor man stay ready. I hit the streets in my Chevy. Blunt burning, smell smoking heavy. Man, here you go, I got plenty. Prayers up for what's in it. In the land I lost many, cause every nigga ain't feeling. And every man ain't milling. No D-bows but Stanley. No heroes for my family. Why the pigs killing us daily. Invader, this is for the invader. Invader, send home the invader. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Give them all praises, give them all praises. Invader, this is for the invader. Invader, send home the invader. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Give them all praises, give them all praises. Where the fuck do you come from? Kidnapping our babies. 11 million abortions. Whole country is scorched. Gave them stealing my portion. Bitch, give me my land back. We ain't signed no contracts. Why you wasting all of our trust funds? We don't know who your dad is, but we know who your kinfolk. Take the food off of my plate. Eat that shit with my folk. You invader. You motherfucking invader. Invader. This is for the invader. Invader, send home the invader. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Give them all praises, give them all praises. Invader, this is for the invader. Invader, send home the invader. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Give them all praises, give them all praises. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Give them all praises, give them all praises. Invader, this is for the invader. Invader, send home the invader. Invader, this is for the invader. Invader, send home the invader. Invader, this is for the invader. Invader, send home the invader. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Give them all praises, give them all praises. Hey ya, 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 hey ya. Hey ya, 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 hey ya. Yup. Wild Indian, yeah.
Hey, V, line them up.
I'm a wild Indian, you know I go crazy. Ain't really Indian, that boy fugazi. I just keep it player, you could never play me. You got an ass so fat, girl, let's make a baby. And another one. Then I'm back to the trap, I'm trying to double some. She a bad woke chick, and I love her tongue. We some jurisdiction boys, we some 101s. Look, don't compare me to no Martin dog, I'm like Malcolm X. Die by our freedom, we'll leave a crack and stretch. Round of applause, boy, you know we clapping text. Chucky dog, child play, yeah, nigga, that's what's next. Open up the cans just like Arizona. Pull up man stuck like we got the Rona. We set up jurisdictions when we buy the corner. How you claiming that's your hood and you not the owner? Be the B, I just pulled up in the need for speed. Free the land, tell the colonizers that they need to leave. Wild Indian up in my veins, you know how we bleed. You ain't gotta lie about who we is, dog, just keep it G. We at war, we can't keep the peace. Since we at war, gotta keep the peace. Whack a cone, then I meditate. Should I need to breathe? Keep a Olmec head when we slide, dog, cause we the shit.
Like my niggas said, bitch, we the shit. I can't keep the peace. If it pop off, then I want a piece. I'm just on release. I'm in go mode, motherfucker thief. In these streets like EBT, when we at war, make peace with me. I don't give a damn, understand. Fuck who stole this land, white or black or tan. Understand, it's fuck who stole this land. Might have seen me get little buddy these hands. He wasn't no abo man. A lot of these dudes is Sambo man. They full of shit like my ammo can. What they call an N-word out the wrong mouth, that's an ambulance. Wild Indian, get it in advance, or you can post date it. Ask around, I'm the most hated. Straight sacred, they stole acreage. Go ape shit, show ain't shit. It won't be televised, I don't tape shit.
Be the B, I just pulled up in the need for speed. Free the land, tell the colonizers that they need to leave. Wild Indian up in my veins, you know how we bleed. You ain't gotta lie about who we is, dog, just keep it G. We at war, we can't keep the peace. Since we at war, gotta keep the peace. Whack a cone, then I meditate. Should I need to breathe? Keep a Olmec head when we slide, dog, cause we the shit.
All right, man. Peace, 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 peace. You're now rocking with your brother Hanu Kiel, aka Touches One, aka A1. Peace to guys, peace to goddesses, peace to the Aborigines, peace to the Tonktons, peace to the Indians, peace to the Moors, North, South, Central, and the conjoining islands. Once again, it's your brother checking in on the Aborigines, the Tontons, the Indians, the Moors, etc. Shout out to everybody, man, who came through for that pay-per-view I had on the 20th or 22nd. I didn't get a chance to go live because I've been kind of busy the last couple of days. I got a day off today. So, I want to do a build today. I've been trying to get one in at least every week, but some days I come in, I'll be so tired. Like I do not feel like doing any videos or doing another 3-4 hours on YouTube. So apologize for that. But for the most part, we here today. Um, and I just wanted to kind of just touch on, a few things. I'm gonna touch on this shit that this nigga Umar Johnson been talking about. And I'm also gonna touch on the Iran war and how it relates to, well, yeah, how the Iran war relates to the construction of the United States of America. All right. And why is, you know, I don't want to say everything right now, but when we get into that segment, I will definitely go in on it so you guys will understand it. But for the meantime, in between time, all right, so I'm on the fence like when it comes to the FBA thing. I like the FBA thing because how we pretty much figure like this, right? How American Aborigines, how we've been going in for years on Pan Africans. We've been going in for years. So everything you see FBA doing with how they kind of delineate, we've been delineated from Africans. It's just that the whole, like, I don't want to say our movement, because our movement can't be hijacked. Because whatever FBA is, we're that and more, right? And I don't agree with ADOS, Yvette Carnell. I don't agree with none of that shit because a lot of the stuff is just for reparation payout. And we don't necessarily have to get reparations for being a slave. Reparation is meaning repairing something, repairing the fact that our land was stolen, repairing the fact that, militia groups went into our neighborhoods and, um, destroyed our towns, buried them underwater and forced people into like a lot of these eastern or northeast states, you know what I'm saying, and getting under their jurisdiction, right? So it's a whole lot of stuff. The war on drugs, the fact that the fact that the whole system has been unfair in the 1960s as far as trying to get certain black men jobs or whatever. Like, you couldn't get jobs in the North like you could in the South, right? Then even with the 1965 Immigration Act. So a lot of people don't even understand like how far that going to. And one thing I can say, like, I don't really fuck with the nigga Godfrey, right? I don't fuck with him. I think he just try to always make an excuse for him talking on black issues and why he can talk on them. But sometimes he does say some good things pertaining to black Americans and trying to put some of these niggas on cold or check their talking points or whatever. But when it gets to the 1965 Immigration Act, a lot of people don't bring that up because if you figure like this in 1965, what was going on? What was going on was you had the civil rights movement, right? So you got the civil rights movement going on in 1965. Who fucking idea was it for them to pass an immigration act to bring immigrants here to work? When niggas constantly right here fighting over civil rights and the fact that they can't work. So we think we played a part in the 1965 Immigration Act. No, the 1965 Immigration Act was to hijack us and pretty much was to do like they do now, bring people in here, prefer them over us, and then make it seem like, oh, we don't want to work. And then everybody else that come, because everybody else come here, they find jobs easy or whatever. But a lot of so-called Black Americans at that time wasn't getting employment. So they look at, well, we able to get employment. How are they not able to get employment? Because they don't understand the fucking game. They don't understand the game. And they don't understand that the system knows. And I tell you like this too, even when it comes down to the birth certificates, we have a certain number, well, not in the birth certificate, in the social security numbers. Our social security numbers has a certain number in it to where they know that we are American Aborigines or American Indians. That differs from other black immigrants, from other ethnic groups or racial groups that come here from other countries. We have a certain number in our social security number. I forgot which one it was, but it's a certain number in our social security number that they know who we are and they know who these people are. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, when you playing against them type of odds and them type of statistical data and analysis to where these people can see you coming and then you could be right next to somebody who look just like you and they know the difference from you and the difference from a Caribbean, the difference from you and the difference from African, the difference from you and the difference from even a black person that came from the Pacific coast or came from, East Asia, you know what I'm saying, etc., or even Europe. So a lot of us don't even understand that. You know what I'm saying? It's saying, hold on. It's saying Montclair's, bro. It's saying it's the middle two numbers. Yeah, it is. I think it's in a. You figure, you figure it's what, nine numbers? Is it nine numbers or is it 10 numbers? I think it's 10 numbers, right? Because the first is three, three, and then four. So you saying that it's in the second sequence of numbers or whatever. It's in the second sequence of numbers. Yeah, because I seen a lot of people. Like I looked at my daughters, I looked at my daughter mothers, I looked at when my brother showed me his, and I seen a few other people, and we do have consistent numbers in that middle number sequence that's on the actual social. So yeah, these people know who we are. These people know exactly who we are. And was it not um listen, was it not we understand it in our full entirety because there's so many different movements that have been put out here to hijack us. And like I said, a lot of people think, Tariq Nasheed, the FBA may be some agent shit, which, listen, if it is, it's kind of like it's kind of rattling cages. Because like I said, we've been going back at Pan Africans and people been going back and forth with Africans and all of these other people. We've been going back and forth with the same thing that FBA does now. It's just it's just more people doing it. And there's more people willing to participate. When we was doing this shit, we had to find people who was willing to participate and willing to come on these live streams and have these questions and have these conversations with them about us not being from Africa, etc. Right now, at that time, we really didn't have too much backlash from certain Caribbeans and Haitians and a lot of the other so-called melanated groups that come to the United States of America. Not to say they're not from America because they are. They are in America, but they're not from the United States. So in North America, this is land of the gods because this is where all the technology come from. This is where all the technology come from. I'm not saying all, but most of the technology. And even when you want to say, if you want to say, all right, well, the Yucatan Peninsula is part of North America. It's part of North America. All that is the land of flowers. All that is Florida. So all of that is in on the same. It's just that they the ones who separated and then brought a lot of them mestizos there and allowed them to take over them lands. You know what I'm saying? So, um, fuck is this? This motherfucker just be texting me back randomly and shit, man. Um, anywho, I want to get into the shit this nigga Umar Johnson was saying, and I'm just so tired of like I at one point in time I had a lot of respect for Umar when I first got into when he used to be doing the little lectures and shit like that at Black and Nobel or whatever. And every now and then he say something. He say something that has has some reference to relevance to what we talking about. But 99% of the other shit he be saying is all Pan African, Pan African this, Pan African, and he big up all of the agents. Marcus Garvey was a agent. I did a build on Marcus Garvey and Sever Cox and all that shit that you hear niggas talking about now. I did a build, and it's still on my channel. I did a build on that in 2017, almost 9 years ago. Well, almost 10 years ago. Shit, 9 years ago, to be precise, but almost 10 years ago. We been seeing Marcus Garvey was an agent. Marcus Garvey wasn't from the main. He wasn't from North America. So how the fuck is he gonna come here when we already got prominent people who handling business over on this side of the land? Why the fuck would we need him to come here and start negotiating? And that's the arrogancy we see with these people. Oh, them people look like they need help. Let me go help them. And really not even helping them because he's really an agent. He's really an agent. He's really Asian. Wasn't nobody traveling at that point in time with all that money like that, unless it was being funded by you. You already know, it's funded by these people. So these people found the way to come here and usurp us from our land and send us over to Sierra Leone or Liberia or whatever. And even when you look in the American colonization society, you even hear black people say any person who will go over there to Liberia, Sierra Leone is a traitor to their people. This is the language that these people were saying at this point in time. They was recognizing that people was traitors and people was agents. They recognized that long time ago. So you had a few people who bought into it, just like how you now. You got a few people who buy into all of this political shit, whether they Republican or Democrats, right? They buy into everything. They buy into um, you know, these clowns, like even what I was watching. I was watching Jesse Jackson funeral, right? But I'm gonna get back on point. I just want to say this one thing. I was watching Jesse Jackson funeral and how you got all of these so-called black Democrats. They all are pro immigration. They all are pro immigration. And like Dr. King, like Dr. King's daughter, I believe it was Dr. King's daughter that came out and said that Dr. King wasn't for immigration. He was for his people. And all these people that found a way to, change this and think that. And see, the thing of it is, these motherfuckers is not smart. These people are being funded because in any situation you see, right? Just the whole thing with the Mr. Tenderism or whatever, with the shit that he's doing, right? And how, like how like food establishments and everything. You got black people who will support certain food establishments, man. Another hold up. The brother that got killed in Detroit, Chop, what was the name of it? Oh my God. Sloppy chops and sloppy crabs. The brother that got killed out there or whatever. Rest in peace to that brother. And that goes to show you that, like, man, we are our own worst enemy, man. And sometimes I wish there was a real vigilante, like a nigga like the Punisher, that would just, would just like, I don't need to fill in the blanks, but some of you niggas gotta go, man. Cause you niggas are counterproductive and you niggas will never allow people to thrive. And you niggas just stand in the fucking way, man. And it's just like when you see a person doing good, you don't even have the spirit in you to know that people is trying to help their own people. But it's so much jealousy and envy that thrives in our veins, and that's the reason why every time you see a black brother trying to do something, it was a man who had a McDonald's, right? It was a black man who had a McDonald's, and all he was hiring was black people. One of the motherfuckers he hired tried to go back and rob him, and then the nigga he had a pistol on him or whatever. But the dude got the drop on him before he pulled his pistol out. I think the guy shot him, but in the fire, in the exchange of fire or whatever, the guy who owned the McDonald's, he was also killed. And that's another thing you got to worry about. You hire motherfuckers, you hire black people, and then black people come in. Then they plot on you to rob you. Like, man, that shit is fucking ridiculous. But what I was saying about the Mr. Tenderism thing was, it was saying like how he was funded. I think he was a white dude came in. And listen, let me tell you something too. Let me tell people this shit too, right? It's not people's fault if motherfuckers don't know how to properly handle business. I don't know the whole ins and outs to the Mr. Tenderism, but it's the same story we see. Like when I go to New York, I see motherfuckers on the subway rapping or playing a fucking instrument or doing or flipping or dancing, and then they got a cup, niggas throwing money in there, whatever, and they looking for somebody that comes and will offer them a contract or deal to make them to what I'm saying, to make them a superstar or to fund their so-called gift, right? To fund their so-called gift, right? With the Mr. Tenderism shit, I seen a lot of people, oh, he had a white man. What the fuck do you expect? Like, if you have an idea, right? You have an idea. The first thing you have to do is market it and have funding for it. If you accept somebody come in and say, all right, well, boom, I see you can cook. All right, I'm a fund the restaurant and you can just work the menu and you can just put your recipes on it or whatever, and I'll fund everything. Of course, the person gonna come in and take all the money. You supposed to know that before you even sign. What the fuck is you already know what can happen. What is how do you want to say, um how do whatever the end game of it is, you should already know what the end game is. You should already know if somebody coming and funding your idea and they putting in 95% of the money, and the only 5% you're putting in is your idea, even though your idea is going to make money, but the person who put their money up is going to want their money back first. The same thing these rap labels and all this shit does. All these rap labels get these niggas these 360 deals because they're taking a chance. They don't know if you niggas gonna make no money. Even though it's a lot of other nefarious things that goes on with them with these contracts and a lot of this other sell your soul and all this other stuff or whatever. Maybe it'd be in your best interest not to sell your soul, even if you got a product. You don't have to sell your product to this person. You don't have to sell your product to this person. You can probably get some family members or, try to get on a campaign or go talk to some individuals who be willing to come up with a financial group that will help you create it. I don't care. It could be a hole in the wall. Cause like and even in the South, some of the best food comes out of these hole in the wall establishments. The same thing like it used to be up here. All of the soul food spots, they didn't have no um shiny bright signs and shit flashing and shit or with the neon colors that change and shit. They didn't have none of that, man. They didn't have the money for that. The food represented itself. You know what I'm saying? The food represented itself. So, you know what I'm saying? Even with that being said, people, if you want to go on business, listen, these motherfuckers is giving away degrees. They giving away degrees. They giving away degrees. If they will give me, I got 7 drug convictions from in my youth. 7 felony convictions. I have a associate, I have a ASS, I have a BS, and I'm damn near complete my MBA. I just ain't go back for it because I've been too fucking busy. But as soon as I get everything in order, I'm gonna pay the rest of this shit out my pocket and I'm gonna finish. I only got 6 more classes. That ain't nothing. That's 2 semesters. And I'll be done, do my dissertation, and I'm done. And I'm only doing it because I don't like to start nothing and not finish it. You know what I'm saying? So I know at the end of the day, it's something that I set out to do. I sat down and I was able to complete it. Whether or not I take this fucking diploma and make a paper airplane and fly that shit out the window, it's still something that I set out to do. And for me to further educate myself, just like I'll go buy 10 books. If I read all 10 books, I feel, I feel like I accomplished something. You know what I'm saying? Anytime you set out, but anywho, what I was saying about the whole business thing is, if you really want to know universal business, because a lot of people they got good ideas, but a lot of them don't know how to universally do business. So in the case of the brother Mr. Tenderism or whatever the fuck you say his name or whatever, somebody should have went to him who had business administration background, and they should have helped him. But see, that's another thing with us. We don't want to help each other. You know what I'm saying? Most of my shit that I get, I try to give away for. I don't say I try to get everything away for free. Don't get it wrong, because some shit it means a lot to me. My last pay-per-view I just did, American was a before 1492, America was a Negro continent. That's something that felt very dear to me that I put together. And I felt like it took me a lot of time and effort for me to put it together. So I didn't want to do it on a public platform. I wanted to do it as a pay-per-view. And that's the same thing with, but as far as like this business shit and other things that you learn from school, the whole purpose of you learning this stuff is so that you can go back and teach the people. That's how back in the day used to have black teachers. When they retired, they went back and they volunteered to teach the community for free. So even when it comes to, like, if people know who, and I guess now he's gonna get a lot of the help from the community. I guess now, because I've seen some big celebrities or that was going to donate towards his cause and was going to help him and everything to establish his own restaurant or whatever. But at the end of the day, you have to start that off. Like, I'm a chef too. I'm a chef too. And I don't besides if I don't teach, like, I don't want to work in no restaurant. Like, I rather, like, I be an adjunct professor, and I can teach culinary classes as well as sanitation classes, right? I can teach, and also nutrition. I can teach nutrition classes at a community college or university. But I can't go into a university until I get my master's or whatever, because for you to be an adjunct, you have to at least have a master's. For you to be a full-time um professor, you have to have a doctorate or whatever. But to be an adjunct, only thing you need is a master's. So you can just be an adjunct professor or whatever, and you can go around and whatever your curriculum or your field of study, you can go around. I can go into school. I can go into school as an adjunct and teach African studies. Will I? Hell, motherfucking no. And I know that they wouldn't be willing to allow me to put together a American Indian study. That was something I was thinking about years ago. About like if I was to do it, I sign up for the African studies, right? But then I put my own, because you could create your own curriculum within their curriculum. So now they ain't gonna hand you the curriculum. You're gonna have to come up with your own curriculum, even when it comes to African studies. Some of them already have one in place, but that don't mean you have to follow theirs. You know what I'm saying? You can always add to it. You can always add to it and add, like I would add the American Aborigine part to it. That we was already here, that we didn't come from Africa. Now I would have to, even with that, I would have to kind of acknowledge the fact that I would have to say, okay, yeah, well, it was some Africans that came here. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to say how many, you know what I'm saying, or fall into these people paradigm and this story that these people, this ridiculous shit that these people telling you, 12 million people? Really? 12 million people? Like, are you ridiculous? Are you serious? But all right, let's get into the bill, man, because I got some other stuff. I just was rambling with that, man. Shout out to everybody, man. Share the build out, man. Look, man, 46 people in here. I'm glad that you guys are rocking with me, but please hit the like button, share the build out. I know I'm blocked on the algorithm, and I'm gonna be blocked for a long time or whatever. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? This shit ain't about no ego. I'm just glad brothers and sisters coming through. Let's get it in. All right. So we're gonna touch on this guy real quick. And I got, like I said, I got some other shit I'm gonna talk about with that war. And I want to kind of connect it. I want to kind of connect that shit and show y'all something that a lot of people don't know. All right. So let me see. Go off on this guy right here. All right. So let me back it up a little bit.
Whoa.
What's that?
I just built a budgeting app in Base 44.
You would want for me to be respectful.
And I'm gonna say this too, right? Like I said, man, this nigga Umar, he's a Pan-Africanist who believe, oh, we are all African people, and this whole silly ass paradigm that he is the only one who believes or whatever. So however it go, man, I'm gonna let it play, and I'm gonna be interrupting as usual. You already know how I do. So I'm gonna play it out, and I'll be right back.
In your home. So the concept of that American African identity, I have no issue with it. It needs to be done. It needs to be said. This is not new. What is new about it is the adversarial stance that they are taking towards African immigrants who come here from the diaspora, and the energy that they give them, the negative energy that they give them, which supersedes the negative energy you give to the white man who enslaved you then and oppresses you now. There's nothing a continental African immigrant can do to me that can supersede what the white man has done to me. There's nothing a Caribbean, Central South American African immigrant can do to me that can exceed what the white man has done to me. So why is it I can have so much vitriol, hatred disrespect, animosity towards someone who looks like me just because they came from another place, when the white man who's responsible for my hell here, I'm never giving him half that energy. And then on top of that, it's contradictory in this way. You still identify with the white man. You are a Black American? Since when? So you'll call yourself an American, but you'll never call yourself an African. Think about that now. After all I've been through in this country, I'm still going to wave their flag. After all I've been through in this country, I'm still going to use their colors. After everything I've been through in this country, I'm still going to identify with the plantation and call myself an American. So I don't have an issue with the concept. I take issue with the strategies. And
what about if someone is saying that, all right, we look at anyone that is putting in our place and getting access to resources that belong to us because they built their cold wealth off coerced labor from our people, but you can come in as an African, as a quote unquote immigrant, and get certain access to things that maybe the foundational Black Americans, what they call themselves, believe that, that's our stuff. And so I don't look at the African any different than I look at any other, ethnic group that comes over and tries to take that place.
If that's the case, where is your campaign against the Latinos? Because I don't see it. Where's your campaign against the Caucasian immigrants? I don't see it. Where's your campaign against the South Asian and North Asian immigrants? I don't see
it. But see, what I think fragmented everything is the reparation talk. And so I think the reparation talk, a lot of the foundational, and I'm, I could be speaking out of school, but my limited understanding of it is, I think that they believe that the reparations belong to descendants of slaves.
Well, I'm going to say this as a Pan-Africanist, because we invented the reparations fight. It don't come from FBA. It don't come from ADOS. This was around before they were born. You feel me? Yes. Pan-African.
That nigga's a goddamn lie. And this is the thing with Umar. He talk too fucking much. He always want to make it seem like everything came from Pan-African. No, Pan-Africanism surrounded itself around Black Americans who was voicing their frustration to the system. And these niggas came and hijacked this whole shit. Before, when you seen in the 60s and the Black Panthers and what's my man name, H. Rap Brown and all of these brothers, none of them niggas was Pan-African. All of that shit was something that was hijacked, and then they just, like, when the whole roots and all that shit came out, that's when these Pan-Africans and everything became popular. That shit wasn't around when people was first talking about this shit. Martin Luther King wasn't, and even though whatever you want to say about Martin Luther King or whatever, but there was people that came within his movement, right? Within his movement, and also other movements of people was talking about reparation. That shit ain't come from no fucking Pan-African. Pan-Africans surrounded themselves around the struggle. You know what I'm saying? And in the whole movement of that, right? A lot of people came in as agents. How do you think the word Black was applied to you? What's the nigga name? Oh, I can't think of the motherfucker name, man. He was going back and forth with Martin Luther King, but he was a Caribbean. I can't think of his name right now. Kwame, what's the name? Or whatever. He was the one that came up with that whole black shit or whatever. And then people started to, like, think that, okay, yeah, Black means power, but then no one really wanted that to be applied to them as a entire race group or ethnicity. No one was calling themselves Black prior to that. But this nigga talking about Pan-Africans is the reason why people start talking about reparations. No, y'all not. No, you're not. You know what I'm saying? And talking about as far as all these other groups, niggas is talking about all immigrants. Nigga ain't just talking about no motherfucking Africans. Nigga ain't talking about just no Caribbean. We talking about all these motherfuckers because if you ask me, right? If you was to ask me, right? Every immigrant here is illegal because all of these people are here via a corporation and they're taking on a heritage name. America is not a name that should be applied to anybody who's under the corporation of the United States. These people just take this name. Oh, I'm an American. No, you're not. Who told you you're American? Did the did the people who own this fucking landmass tell you that it was okay for you to come here and take on their name? No. The occupying government is the one that tells you you're United States. You really are a United States citizen. You really are a United States citizen. And matter of fact, you know what? I got something else I'm gonna show y'all. Let me play some more of this shit. I'll be right back.
Africanists gave birth to it. Reparations for me is not about different groups and sects of the race fighting for their crumb off the big pie. This should be one fight, one reparation. Do you feel me, Loon? We can split it up how we want to split it up after we get it. But by you fighting divided for the same restitution, you playing right into the hands of your enemy. There was one slavery, took some of us to the Caribbean. There was one slavery.
Now this is how stupid this nigga sounds. Yeah, Stokely Carmichael. Shout out. Peace, you know. Thank you for that. But he changed his name to Kwame Toreto, right? But however it go, right? He said, "Oh, there was one." Now, listen. Now I can't show you on this on this computer right here because I gotta go to my other computer and I don't feel like sharing the screen on that right there, right? But check this out, right? This is how I found out that these niggas was lying. This is how I found out that these niggas was lying, right? Even when you go on slavevoid.org, I don't believe the numbers. I don't believe the disembarkment or the embarkation places or where these people was bought from. I don't believe none of that shit, man, because none of the shit adds up, right? But what you can use from that is this, right? You have multiple Europeans or what they call European so-called countries, right? Dutch, France, Britain. It's about 6 or 7 of them, right? It's about 6 or 7 of them, right? So when you look at all of that, right? How did all them people didn't even get along? And in fact, half of them people, according to their story, they was warring with each other. So how the fuck was all these people able to? Because it's like, just think of it like this, right? When they going into Africa at that point in time, right? They would have been bumping heads. Their ships would have been intertwingled or interconnected because one ship would have been leaving, another ship would have been coming. So France would have been leaving, and then Britain would have been coming. So you're saying that they all had access to go to Africa, grab all of these people, and then bring these people, and all had access to come to America. That is eugenics. That is superiority. That is making you feel like these people were so superior that they had the power to do this shit. Now, we already know at that point in time in the 1400s, Europe was ran by niggas. There was no white people running this part of Europe and then black people run. That is a fucking fantasy, my nigga. That is a fucking fantasy. That's not the way it worked. Niggas ran Europe. Niggas ran Europe all the way from the Middle East all the way up into fucking Russia or Tartaria or whatever the fuck you want to call it. There was no white people occupying none of these side territories, running shit, and then simultaneously at the same time going to Africa, grabbing people, and then coming to America. And then when you look at America, America was highly populated, and I showed the population, which I think Henry Dobbin, he was the one that in 19, I think it was 1966, he came up with the 112 um a population of 112 million people that was from, you figure, North America, some parts of Canada, all the way into like what we call the Yucatan, and going into like some of the islands and all that. He was saying from in that territory was 112 million people. But on the eastern side of America, from the eastern seaboard where the Atlantic touches, was it Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, all the way down, right? All the way into the interior of the Mississippi, right? He was saying it was 50 million people in this area right here. So you think Europeans was coming here and they was just opening the shop? And then another clue we get from oh my God, what's the brother name? I can't think of it. It's gonna come to me in a minute or whatever, right? The 13 colonies is ran by 5 black kings. So now these people are not even white. But anywho, I just wanted to just throw that out there. I don't want to get all caught up with it, right? But this nigga is saying that because slavery was done by European, and this nigga is so fucking stupid to where he don't even know that at the time when they were saying that this was going on, that black people was running Europe. He don't even know that. He don't even know it because some of these niggas are too educated for their own good. They don't look at education or look at history as I have to cross reference this and I have to investigate this. I can't just believe everything that these people telling me, even though we already know, right? We already know the GB, General Education Board, was created by who? Nelson Rockefeller and Frederick T. Gates. We read the mission statement of what they didn't want to come out of this shit. They didn't want no free thinkers. And that's just one thing. So all of the propagandized education that we learned, and these people regurgitate it because they read it from a book, and then everybody source. I At this point in time, I done read so much shit that is garbage, and I had to cross reference with so much information. I can't even tell you every source that interchanges or interconnects or cross reference everything. I only can tell you from the information that I was able to gather because it's so much information to where you have to cross reference it. And shout out to my brother, nonetheless, you have to look at this shit like a crime scene. So I'm not that invested in it to where I'm writing down every source and saying, all right, well, this person right here, he debunked it this, and this person right here debunked it this, and this person debunked it this, and this. And so when you get into the conversation like what I be saying, people be wanting all these sources. I can give you sources to start you off, but I can't tell you everything because this shit is so much shit that I've learned in the last 20 years of doing this. I done forgot so much shit. But I know my personal research and what really did it for me. But what this nigga talking about right here and how he's saying, man, hey, shout out to everybody. It's 54 people here, man. Share the build out, man. Share the build out, man. Even at my lowest point, I was doing at least 120, almost 130 people in the chat room. I know I'm being blocked. I know I'm being blocked right now, but just please hit the like button and share the build out, man, so we can get back in the algorithm. Because whether or not, a lot of people, I'm not around, but guess what? The information is still around. And like I said, there's only one A1. Everybody else got their own spin on everything, but there's only one A1 from day one. So shout out to everybody. But like I was saying, right, this nigga said so he wants reparations to be split up among all of these people. He's the fucking problem. He's the fucking problem, my nigga. Let's focus on us. That's the fucking problem, my nigga. You want to bring in everybody. You want to be liked by everybody. You don't want to be disliked. You think that what we doing is like, no, what we doing is what we supposed to be fucking doing. These people threw the first fucking stone at us. They come here. The only reason they're not, and understand this, right? See, a lot of people, they don't understand this, right? when they say that Black Americans is the one that helped you get here, what they don't understand is the fact that niggas will be hanging from a tree. These racist motherfuckers, you think, okay, when it's compared to us, Black Americans or American Aborigines or American Indians in America, okay, they have a hatred for us, but they got a totally different hatred for a person, a black person with a different accent or different language. You understand what I'm saying? So the white supremacists would have, you know, like these people wouldn't even came over here because they would have seen what was happening and then they were, oh no, we can't even go over there. These niggas is lynching us and killing us. And then once the coast was clear, once our people or how many the people that was lynched from the late 1800s until the 1960s, I think it was like over 3,000 or whatever. And that's another funny thing. You don't see none of this shit going on when all these free black people who it was all these free black people from the 1800s all the way in the 1600s. You don't hear about Anthony Johnson being fucking hung. You don't hear about William Ellison. None of these other people. You don't hear about none of these motherfuckers being hung. What was the difference back then and what changed it in the 1800s? And I'm gonna kind of get into this when I do this Iran, when I go into the Iran conversation or whatever. God forbid, God allowed me to get the time today to do it, but I'm gonna go all into that because a lot of motherfuckers don't understand what the fuck is going on. They do not understand. They don't understand what's going on. They don't understand who created the United States of America. They don't even understand who created that. That ain't our shit. Our shit was the United States for America. They don't even understand that. That the United States of America is a commercial um it's a commercial document. It's a document dealing with commerce. It's also it's just so much shit. I don't even want to but when we get into the resources and we get into how they wanted to control the cotton trade, how they wanted to control the cotton trade, and how they also want to control the food trade. And then later on in the 1900s, when they start realizing that the vehicles that we was using oil, right? We was using oil. Now they want to take over the oil trade. You see what I'm saying? Now they want to take over the oil trade. And they even did it to a point to where they wanted to control the oil trade worldwide. So if they can take the oil from other places and not allow them to supply places or countries, right? Or continents, right? That these people want to dominate over, then they had no reason to go outside of America to outsource oil. It's enough oil in America. But the fact that you got other people who can sell oil other places, the other people, they need to go over there and take over that shit too and control that. So controlling that means controlling these people over here. You understand? But that's a whole nother thing. Let's get back into this, man. Peace to guys, man. Y'all already know what time it is.
Took some of us to the Americas. There was one slavery, took some of us to Central and South America, right? But there was one African slavery. So the Africans of the world, from the continent to the British, Canada had slavery, Australia had it, right? We should all come and sit down. Let's fight this together.
See, I think they reject
You
that.
would get it quicker.
Yeah.
You would get more because guess what? It's a united front. But because we hate each other more than we hate racism,
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. You just need a concept and a way to record it. Here's how.
because we hate each other more than we hate racism, I don't want to unite with no black Africans. I don't want to unite with no Caribbeans. And you got Africans saying the same thing. I don't want to unite with no descendants of no slaves, right? I want to fight my own thing. So ECOWAS got their own fight. Black British got their own fight. Canada got their own fight. Black America got their own fight. And it's sectionalized, sectarian.
That's what I'm saying.
Nobody communicating with each other. So the white man going to play his old game of what? Divide and conquer, separate and rule.
That's why I wanted to have a conversation about the FBA and the Pan-Africanism, because that's what's going on.
And that's another thing, right? Let's look at this, right? A lot of these other motherfuckers, they don't want no reparations. They just want to be able to come to America and get a fucking job. They don't care. This is what they consider to be their reparation. You'll never hear none of the other people talk about reparation. In fact, see, I'm gonna give you an example, right? Now look at Jamaica, right? The people in Jamaica, right? Now, according to the story, what some of them believe, because I know a lot of Jamaicans know that they was already in Jamaica. They didn't come from nowhere else. They was already in Jamaica. They're Arawaks, you know what I'm saying, which they have descendants from different aboriginal lineage, right? That I don't want to get into all of it, but even like when you get in like to the Olmec and to not the Olmec, the Mayans and all that, and even some of the Timacoa and the Yamasi and all of that. Some of that shit extends out there to the Caribbean islands. Some of that shit extends out there. So these people have multiple different like let's say American Indian lineage, like most of us like in North America, right? Because them islands are not that fucking big. Them islands are very fucking small. Them islands, you could fit most of them islands in Texas. That's how small them islands are. You could fit most of them fucking islands in Texas, my nigga. For real, right? But anywho, so you got Jamaicans, right? You don't never really hear when Jamaicans be saying black people ain't got no culture, right? The reason they say that because a lot of them niggas know that they not fucking African and know that they ain't come from Africa. Like what the white man dropped y'all off on the island of Jamaica and let y'all establish your own culture. Where did you get the culture from if you were slaves? Is like how we were slaves, right? Right? And the same thing with Haiti, same thing with shit, the Virgin Islands and oh my God, so many. It's a bunch of fucking islands out there, right? All of these people independently think they got their own culture, but yet they still, not all of them, too. I don't want to say all of them. Some of them, the motherfuckers who come to school and get educated, they are the ones that get indoctrinated with this slavery shit. You was to go there and talk to these people. These people don't know nothing about no fucking slavery, my nigga. They don't know nothing about being bought from no Africa, none of that shit. Only when they go to college and go to universities. The same thing with the Africans. None of them know about none of this shit until they come here and get educated under the indoctrinated eugenic system. Don't none of them know about none of this fucking shit, my nigga. None of them know about it until they come here and go to school. If you was like I said, you talk to them people over there, them people don't know nothing about being brought over here from no fucking Africa. They say we're Arawaks. You know what I'm saying? Or you know what I'm saying? Or other different tribes that they got in some of them islands, but most of them are Arawaks, right? Most of them will be Arawaks, right? So when you look at them, they don't want no reparations. They just want to come to America and work and make money. They okay. They're perfectly fine with being because put it like this, right? Put it like this, right? What makes a person a slave is the person have to work for resources that God provided for free. God plant food or the frequency of the earth where like if you walk on the earth, the earth provides nutrients for the people. You understand what I'm saying? The earth is a living organism. The earth can sense living organisms and what the living organism needs are. So, a person living here, maybe a quarter of a mile away from them, they got pineapples, they got other edible vegetables and edible fruits or whatever. That is providing for the people that's in the region of the area in which the earth will provide for the minerals. The earth is living, the earth can feel it. That's why they tell you the earth. That's why they tell you when you walk, when you take your shoes off, the earth can sense the vibrations. The earth pulls certain frequencies out of you. And the earth knows that it's people living in this area. So the earth provides certain food for them in the area. So now when you have to work for shit that's free because people have came in and took the land, right? And said, oh, we own this land now. You can't even grow nothing. You can't even fucking plant fucking avocados, nigga, if you needed to save your goddamn life. in certain places, but you can work. Oh, if you can't get a job, then how the fuck you supposed to feed yourself? So the whole system is a slavery based system. The whole system, the fact that you gotta pay taxes, the fact that you have to pay all of this, that, and the third, or whatever. If I don't do this, then my quality of life goes down. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah, we can go make a shed and go live up on a fucking hill and go catch water, catch rainwater and filter and go fishing and go hunting. You know what I'm saying? And then, know certain remedies when it comes to, like, if you was to get sick, or if you was to break a bone and learn how to heal a bone back together, right? But the thing of it is like, our people in the South was sufficient. Our people wasn't running around begging. In the South, you ain't hear nobody running around begging for no fucking work. And even when you seen Rosewood, right? When you seen the movie Rosewood, them white people that was living in Rosewood was working for fucking black people, but they reversed it and made you thinking that the black people was working for them. Why the fuck do you think that they burnt the shit down? Because they was the fucking slaves. You understand what I'm saying? Why would they burn it down? Because if Rosewood was separate land, and then the white people living in the same land, and they got stores on the same land, why the fuck would they burn the shit down? Because they was the fucking slaves, right? But let me see something. What you guys saying? Yeah, I mean, listen. Look, man. Look, Charles Clark. I'm gonna get all into that. Let me play some more of this guy, man. This guy's a fucking imbecile. Peace of guys, man. Hit that like button for me, man. Peace of guys.
On. Although I hear when you speak, although you're Pan-Africanist, I hear some of the stuff I hear from foundational Black Americans.
Well, remember, there's nothing wrong with advocating the rights of your unique group. A Pan-Africanist in South Africa can speak up for South Africans and still recognize the greater vision and greater goal of a united race. You see that? So as Pan-Africanists, we don't just focus on the whole. That's the goal. But we also got to take care of our people where we are. So I don't have an issue with the American African people having a Black agenda for themselves that they need to carry out. It's only when you start criminalizing and antagonizing other Africans as if they're responsible for the condition you in. Loon, there's only 3 million African immigrants in this country. They are not the group most responsible.
To be honest, sometimes I actually have no idea what's going on until I open Monday.com. And boom, everything's there. Statuses, timelines, budgets, all in one clear dashboard. And if I want to send something up the chain, 2 clicks, and it's a beautiful report. You're welcome. And now that AI is basically baked into everything we do, I've got even more clarity. It shows me which projects actually align to our yearly goals, flags issues before they eat up time and budget. It's like having a built-in me in every project. It even recommends the right team members for each task. And I know it sounds like you have to have a PhD to use AI, but with Monday.com, it couldn't be easier. I mean, hands down, I have no idea how I kept it all together before.
Start your free trial today at Monday.com, the first work platform you'll love to use.
Yo, hold up for a second, man.
BetMGM Casino has the most exciting live dealer tables. So when you want the magic of Vegas, you...
For siphon and all.
No, I just want to say this. This is what I hate about YouTube, right? These niggas who got their channels monetized, and I got my channel monetized too, right? But what I hate about it is these fucking commercials, man. You can't even no longer, like I used to back in the day. Let's say if I was cleaning or I was doing something and I put on a YouTube video or whatever, the YouTube video plays straight through. Now what happens is if a commercial come on and you don't skip it, another commercial comes on. And then and they just keep showing fucking commercials like if you step off, so you can be somewhere where you just trying to watch the actual video or whatever. But you gotta skip the ad. If you don't skip the ad, then another ad will come on, then another ad will come on, then another ad will come on. Before you know, you can't even really watch it. You have to be basically at your computer to watch the goddamn video. But let's try this. Let's put it back on.
Off from your set-asides. Right. You know who that would be? White women, homosexuals, and Latinos, who they rarely ever talk about.
And you know,
and let me also say this, Loon. Let us be honest. What do we know about the psychology of oppression? The victim often imitates the victimizer. The oppressed often imitates the oppressor. What do I mean by that, Loon? I don't want to be the most oppressed person. I got to find somebody and put them beneath me so I can look down on them and mistreat them. And it's back and forth between Black Africa and Black America. A lot of this is victim consciousness. I don't want to be the lowest, so I'm going to victimize and step on the American African. I don't want to be the lowest, so I want to victimize and step on the African immigrant, because in America, we're the lowest. We are the lowest in the social order. I'm not saying we internalize that.
Right.
I'm saying that's the white agenda.
Yes.
We don't want to be the lowest. So rather than build myself up, my hospitals, my schools, my banks, my trains, my import-export, you see that? My industry, my own trade market, stock market, rather than build myself up to compete with everybody else, I'm just going to demonize.
But what if it's about,
so I have somebody lower than me, because I want to do to somebody else what the white man been doing to me. And we all have that disease. I'm speaking universally. Every African group in the world, because remember now, I've met them all. They always looking for somebody to put under their foot. If I can't beat the white man, let them join them by having somebody under me too.
So, but if it's about resources and reparations. So if it's about reparations, right, for Americans, descendants of slaves, because I agree with you. I think it shrinks the coalition when we have, like, you know, ADOS and FBA and Pan-Africanism and regular just Black people who ain't doing none of that.
Pan-Africanism, our focus is the whole. We're the only philosophy in
inclusive
the world that is inclusive of everybody. Nobody else has that. They want to make you a Hebrew.
What strength is that?
They want to make you a Christian. They want to make you a Muslim. We don't have that. We believe in freedom of religion. We are about unity of the race. We see the African race as a family that we want to be cohesive. We play in the long game. And we are the only philosophy that has ever been pointed out by the white man as being a threat to his system. You ain't gonna see no FBA on no documents. You ain't gonna see no ADOS on no documents. You ain't gonna see no Hebrew, no Moor, no Wapi, and none of that. And I love them all. But what the white man said in his security memorandum was what? We cannot allow the Black African and the Black American to unite at all, culturally, economically, or politically. If they do, that would significantly undermine our global agenda.
Yeah, see, you looking at it from a global perspective.
Is the threat, not this other crap. You don't care about none of that stuff. That's just smoke and mirrors.
You're looking at it from a global perspective. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're the only thing he worried about.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So do you agree, though, that Black Americans deserve reparations? And if so, who has to play?
Deserve reparations.
So for what happened in America?
Well, remember, slavery happened to the race. That's where we're going to, you see, that's where the disagreements come in. Because slavery didn't happen to Black America. Slavery happened to Africans wherever they were taken. What they did to me here is no different than what they did to me in Costa Rica.
But America don't have to pay for that. We saying if America says we're giving reparations for what happened to Black people in America, who does that go to?
I disagree. Let me clarify. There is no America until July 4th, 1776. But my ancestors got here under British North American slavery, not the Spanish. They were there first, right? But Spanish don't control the United States of America, right? Anglo-Saxons do. America was born of the 13 British colonies, right? That was born July 4th, 1776, Loon. So under whose control and dominion were we from 1619 until 1776? The British. Am I wrong? Who Jamaica want reparations from? The British. Do you see where I'm going with this? Who Ghana want reparations from? The British. Who Nigeria want reparations from? The British. So for the American African, to your point, Loon, from 1776 until the present, that's the USA. But from 1619 to 1776.
He said a lot, right? And he going by these fake ass dates that these people created. Number one, the British was niggas. That's number one. The original British was niggas. We know it was hijacked at some point in time, but we can see when it was hijacked, and we can see when the so-called white tea people took over a lot of them castles and a lot of that royalty that was originally Aborigines or American Aborigines, descendants from American Aborigines that went over there, that established them colonies over there, right? We can see that the actual slaves are the ones, the slaves, the peasants, and the servants. Them are the ones who actually took over that shit, that royalty. You understand what I'm saying? And they was the ones that went around later on after the so-called white European system got strong. They started to go right back into the same areas that we had connections with and dominating them and taking their resources. So that is correct. But at the end of the day, that ain't got nothing to do with us, because even in mainland America, you could say, okay, it was the British, right? But then in some cases, you see the British fighting with, like, the stories are so convoluted, and they're so, the only reason the stories stand strong, because white people need the stories to make it seem like they are superior over us. But they know that this fucking stories is bullshit. They know that even white people know that the story, and when they want to compare and contrast between the stories, they compare and contrast. You understand what I'm saying? When they want to have, when they want to say, okay, well, the British really didn't do this, because how could the British do this and they do that? But as a whole, they all would agree upon a story, because that's what makes them seem like they dominate. You see what I'm saying? So no, fuck what he talking about. Them people we got separate situations going on here, my nigga. Because like I said, even when you're dealing with crack, you're dealing with heroin, you're dealing with, yeah, okay, AIDS and some of that shit happened to people over in Africa. Okay. But at the end of the day, Africa has enough people over there to where they can fight for what the fuck they need. We gotta fight for what we need. And see, the thing of it is if we utilize everybody, then everybody has a claim in something that they don't have no descendants that went through any of these conditions that we are actually needing a reparation or reparation for. So what the fuck this nigga talking about? Talking about some everybody under the sun and da 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 da. None of that shit is valid, my nigga. We had to fight for our own shit. Fuck what he talking about. He just don't want us to be talking about them Africans, because he want to go over there to Africa and he want to make it seem like he's such some big fucking star when he go over there or whatever. Listen, we got our own shit going on over here, and we don't need none of these people who come over here and then these people buy into the system. They don't come over here to buck the system. They come over here to be part and parcel in it. Everything. And they do it. They do it. These motherfucking immigrants come over here and they be so proud of themselves of how good that they are well, how do I want to say, how good they participate and follow the white man's orders, to the point to where they start downing us for us not doing it the same way that they doing it. Oh, black Americans, they don't want to do this. Oh, well, I came here. My father came here. He worked. He did this. He did that. So they start downing us because they want to participate in the system, and they want to do it to a point to where they don't want the white man say nothing bad about them or whatever. But then us, on the other hand, oh, we're not participating in the system the same way that they doing it. So therefore, they think they better than us. You see how that works? So fuck what this nigga Umar talking about, man. I'm gonna keep letting it rock out, man. But shout out to everybody, man. Peace of God, peace of God, sis. I said, hit the like button, man. We need to get some people up in here, man. Definitely. Peace of God, peace of God, sis. Peace of Tonshines, peace of Aborigine, peace of the Indians, peace of the Moors, man. Peace.
That's the British Empire.
See,
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy. I look forward to you joining us at our next.
And it's the same land. You see? And that's why I think the conversation has to be had. Because
I think the point you're leaving out, there's a self-hate aspect to this too. And I know the ADOS FBAs, they're not the pretendians. And I say that respectfully, because at least with the ADOS FBAs, they admit their ancestors came from Africa. They just are of the opinion that that don't matter no more. I don't know how you get there, because as the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey said, a people without knowledge of themselves is like a tree without roots. I would love to see an FBA history book for their kids. I would love to see an ADOS FBA history book for children. If they ever build an ADOS FBA school, how are y'all going to treat identity in history? Because y'all cutting yourself off from your root, and you identifying with a man who's trying to get rid of you. That's the weakness of the movement loom.
Who is that they're identifying with?
Say that again.
Who is that they are identifying with this
Americans.
Okay.
Both of them call themselves Americans, both groups. So they're identifying with the plantation.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, yes.
But they cut themselves off from the ancestors.
All right, man. First of all, the plantations was ran. Not every American Aborigine had plantation, but then again, in a sense, yes, they did. In a sense, they did. Okay, they may not all have white slaves, right? But remember, when we look at what is slave meant family, right? You needed people to till the land. You needed people to wash the clothes. You needed people to clean a goddamn chicken. You needed people to clean the fucking collard greens. So you had to have a multi-system going on. That's why people had so many fucking kids. And that's why a lot of people, families stayed within the same, you want to say tribe. I don't call it tribe, but I call it like a family structure or a nation structure, right? Where everybody participating, and it's a moving system to where you need different people. You need different people to carry out certain functions. You know what I'm saying? To carry out certain functions. And you can even see this play out, right? It seemed like the larger the family was, the better the property was managed, right? The smaller the property was, then you start seeing people who, you know what I'm saying, they may not had a big house or a large, like, house, or build, I don't want to say building, but they may not have they may not have the structures that a large family probably had. If that mean, if you understand what I'm saying. But how it go is, back in the day, people was having 15 or more kids, my nigga. And all them kids had to fucking work. When you see that little baby and on that farm with the bag around his back, and his grandmother is putting cotton into his bag. You see a baby knee high to a fucking duck. You understand what I'm saying? To a goddamn duck. You see a baby. You see pictures of baby. And niggas go, oh, them more slaves. What is they doing? Oh, look what they was doing to the babies. You stupid motherfucker. You have no understanding that that's somebody's grandchild. They got him out in the farm so he can learn the system and be self-productive so that he can be able to run his own family at some point in time. You see what I'm saying? That's what that was for. You understand what I'm saying? He was out there. How motherfuckers like, yo, you out there, and they really out there for nothing. He was really out there. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I don't have right now. Once I get right with this computer shit, and I'm able to show the babies and everything, like I can show the pictures and everything. Cause I got it all on my other computer. But y'all have seen these pictures before. You understand? So even when we say the plantation is a large farm that's used for commerce and trading. That's all it was. That's all it was. So this nigga sitting up in here talking about something. We are not no pretendians, my nigga. You are a fake African, my nigga. This nigga is obsessed with being an African. He's obsessed with being a fake African. He believe all of the stories. And like I said, like the thing even when you challenge these stories, right? Prove to me these stories is true. The Gory Island story is fake, right? If we go to all of the, if we was to go, if we really was to do, let's say if we was to excavate or we was to do a tour, right? And we was to start from North America, right? We start everywhere in North America, right? We can go to every state. Excuse me. We can go to every state and every town. And we looking for foundational black Americans, right? We looking for them first, right? We run up to foundational black Americans, we ask them, let me ask you a question. Like what you see me doing with Culture Freedom, right? Asking people, have you ever heard you got Indian in your family, da 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 da. It's not one American Aboriginal or foundational black American or black American that I've ever asked have ever told me no. Have ever told me no. Now I had to kind of like switch the words around or change it to a point because even when you ask some people, I see some black people right now be like, "Well, where you from? Oh, I'm from here. Where your family from? Oh, they from here too. So you don't have family in the South? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I got family that was from Virginia and from but okay, okay, all right. Have you ever heard that you had Indian in your family? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I heard that too. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. They all say the same shit. But like I said, sometimes you got to redirect how you asking them because sometimes they don't understand, and I don't know why, but it's just that's just the weird communication that I have with some of my people. But if we was to go through North America and we was to take a census of how many black people actually say they got Indian, right? And then we was to go on the Caribbean end, right? We just go to Haiti. We just go to Jamaica, Cuba, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and asking them how many of them people have indigenous people or whatever, right? And then ask them, show me the indigenous people here. They ain't nothing but niggas. So I don't know what the fuck this guy talking about, oh, we're pretending. And I'm quite sure that if we was to ask Umar Johnson family, have they ever heard they got Indian in their family? I'm quite sure that they would say something. But he would be the nigga that would say, "Oh, we all say that. Oh, we're Africans. We're not this." And he would emphatically try to convince and make a person stand on that being an African. You know what I'm saying? So, forget some of these niggas. I mean, niggas ain't at this point in time, and you listen to me, we ain't really listening to no Umar Johnson. This nigga ain't even on our radar. I don't give a fuck about two things or what this nigga do. It's just as what he's saying about this reparation shit. And even when it comes to the FBAs, I gotta correct them niggas on that shit too. Cause these niggas, one minute, you got Tariq Nasheed, and he kind of like he convoluted this whole history. Some of us are American Aborigines, right? Then they going into all of the studies that niggas like myself has been talking. I've been talking about Lucy. I've been talking about all this shit. Shit you see Mike TV do. The shit you see these other what's the other brother name? I can't think of his name. What Tariq Nasheed do. This is shit that we've been doing for years. And they don't a lot of them doesn't they do the remix single with we're Indians, but yet we're still slaves too. Now we didn't got away from that shit. You know what I'm saying? But what this nigga Umar Johnson saying about how he want everybody to get reparations, every black group of people, that shit is definitely detrimental to us because we're not African. We are American Aborigine, American Tonton, or American Indians. And people like him who will go against us and not even at least sit down and try to take in the information, all just on the sake of him saying that he's an African. Peace to the gods, man.
You see that? To me, that is the greatest shortcoming of that movement. Ain't nobody taking me from my African roots. I don't give a damn what game y'all want to play, but you ain't doing that. There's spiritual ramifications for that. There's political ramifications for that. There's economic ramifications for that. And let's go political, Loon. Only an idiot.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete...
Only an idiot. I don't give a damn what game y'all want to play, but you ain't doing that. There's spiritual ramifications for that. There's political ramifications for that. There's economic ramifications for that. And let's go political, Loon. Only an idiot. Only an idiot will cut themselves off from a meaningful relationship with other nations. You cannot survive in this world without allies. Do you understand me? Especially when you are a numerical minority. How did Cuba survive America? Being 90 miles off the coast, Loon? Because Cuba had Russia and international.
Yo, y'all heard that nigga. That nigga said, yo, I ain't never giving up this. I ain't never giving up being an African, man. You heard this nigga talking, there's spiritual ramifications. Well, if you got spiritual ramifications, use that shit against Bill Gates and them going over there infecting people with Ebola, fucking AIDS, etc. Use that shit for that, my nigga. All these motherfuckers always talk about they got all these spiritual protections, but when they really need it to really use it for the real shit, it doesn't fucking work. Political ramification. What political ramifications do we want? Because most of them people, you do got some thorough African leaders, right? But most of them niggas are paid and bought for. And they do the same thing that China do. They will pay them and then they will exploit the motherfucking people as slaves, my nigga. The reason why China is, and when you see these communism organizations and shit, they do that because they want everybody to get paid the same amount of money. Then the government takes the rest of the money, right? So they allocate all of that money, the money that they feel the people deserve, amongst each other, and they they distribute it equally, right? But even in Africa, they don't even do that shit. In Africa, they exploit the motherfucking people. Them people who was down in them diamond mines and doing all this other shit, my nigga. They exploit them people. They make them people work like fucking slaves. So what political ramifications are we gonna get from some motherfuckers who utilizing or enslaving their own fucking people, my nigga? What the fuck we gonna get out of that? You pimping your own fucking people, my nigga. These niggas in Africa walking around, they walking around with, they put a whole bottle of fucking cologne on, right? Walking around fuck with flip flops and motherfucking suits on, driving Mercedes Benzes. But then you can go one block away from there and the motherfucker ain't even got they don't even have a fucking they don't even have asphalt on the fucking on over the dirt. These motherfuckers don't even have street signs. They don't even have doorbells. They don't even, like, come on, my nigga. What political ramification are we gonna get from these people? These people, the political, they got shit to gain from us, right? They got shit to gain from us, but and then they got shit to gain from us, and then come over here and gain it, and then shit on us. So what the fuck do we want to? What? Why do we need allies like that? Now you got some people who will admit, man. I'm not saying, listen, and I'm not saying this. There's a lot of people that I met, even Africans, even fucking Africans, who got the ultimate respect for the American gods, who got the ultimate respect for the American gods. You understand what I'm saying? Who got the ultimate respect. It was a brother, when that whole what the fuck is this clown ass nigga name? The country singer. Somebody put in the chat room. You got the weird ass fucking freak booty ass name. I can't remember the nigga name, right? Well, he was like, yeah, oh, foreign immigrants built this country. And they always tell me, when my mother came here, my mother had to work. My mother had to do this. My mother had to do this. Okay, great. Welcome to the club, motherfucker. Well, who gave y'all the opportunity for you to be able to do any of that? Oh, the American guys did. So don't say this country was built. Wasn't no motherfucking Mexicans in Los Angeles in the 1950s, my nigga. It's a small majority of them. But then they start bringing all these people. They do the same thing they do everywhere. They bring all these people to outsource you. Now we have to work just as hard as these motherfuckers for us to have anything. These motherfuckers come over here and sleep 2 hours a goddamn day. And then they point at them like, yeah, look, this guy right here, he really wants it. He really wants it. But then 40, 50, 60 years ago, your father can work a regular job and take care of the whole family and have a house and have a car. And you can go on vacations, motherfucker. But now you have to compete with a motherfucker who working. This nigga work 10 hours at his regular company, then come home and do Uber Eats, right? He do Uber Eats for 5 more hours, right? He do Uber Eats for 5 more hours, right? And come on, my nigga, this shit is ridiculous, man. Shit's fucking ridiculous, man. Let's get back into this shit, man.
Ally. The American African people need Africans as allies. We need our Caribbean brothers and sisters as allies. We need our South and Central American brothers and sisters as allies, not enemies.
Yes.
So you mean to tell me you fighting the white man who's an enemy, and I'm going to make an enemy out of all my black brothers and sisters around the world? That is insane.
Yeah, I don't
And it's not one-sided. I want to be clear, Loon. African immigrants are just as guilty of this sectionalism and division. I want to be very clear because I've seen the feed. People send them to me. It is. I'm not saying that ADOS FBAs are more liable for the racial divide. They're not. It's equal. Some of the stuff I've seen continental Africans say about American Africans is unacceptable.
That's the thing. If we okay, all right, listen, right? Now I remember growing up. Niggas used to say HBO, Haitian body odor, right? Niggas say African booty scratcher, right? Niggas used to say that shit. And some of these people took so much offense to this shit to where that shit traumatized them for the rest of their fucking lives. And they have this lifetime hate against us, right? But guess what though? The same way you hike, nigga, listen, I done been hiked on. I done hiked on other niggas. I done seen other niggas hike on other people. I done seen niggas make girls cry in school, my nigga. I done seen niggas make niggas cry or whatever over hiking. And I'm not saying that shit is like hiking or whatever. Oh, yeah, your hair so nappy. You need this, that. Yo, yeah. Yo, listen, I've heard all of the fucking jokes. I just don't really feel like getting into them, but I've heard all of the fucking jokes, my nigga. What make you think the reason why motherfuckers had to start coming to school with new sneakers and shit on? Because nigga always hiking. Oh, you got them dirty ass sneakers. Niggas, when I was coming up, my nigga, before a lot of this shit, niggas used to come to school with holes in their fucking sneakers, my nigga. And that's and listen, some nigga people only had one pair of sneakers, bro. And it's that's not taking that's not making fun of them. I'm just saying now that I sit back and I look at it and I say to myself, well, damn man, shit, it was some real hard times, bro. And they take their you go in gym, nigga take their socks off, nigga socks dirty, nigga got holes in his socks or whatever. One thing my mother always told me, listen, just in case you ever gotta go to the emergency room, always make sure you got clean underwear and clean socks on. That's one thing she proud of herself for. You fuck around, get your ass beat in my house, nigga, if you had holes in your socks. But my mother makes sure she always bought underwear, always bought new underwear, and always had clean socks. Always. But anyway, a lot of these immigrants, they have a lot of trauma because we used to go in on these niggas so hard. But that was part of move. You coming into our environment. We're going in on each other hard. We hiking on each other, my nigga. We hiking on everybody. And same thing even with the Puerto Ricans. We used to go in on the Puerto Ricans, and I'm being for real, man. And I don't listen. When I was coming up, Puerto Ricans wasn't wearing the shit we was wearing. I'm not saying that they wasn't cool. I may had a Puerto Rican boy who was cool, but he had long hair. He had long hair. When we go take pictures, nigga might have had a motherfucking a fucking white suit on with a burgundy with a burgundy tie and a burgundy vest and some white shoes on or some shit like that or whatever, right? Some sliders or whatever. Niggas hiking. Niggas is hiking. Niggas is hiking, my nigga. And one thing I can say about a lot of Puerto Ricans, they was real sportsmen like with the hiking shit. They didn't never take none of that shit really personal. Cause you can hike on a motherfucker and nigga be like, ah, yeah, all right, or whatever, and just dust it off or whatever. But then you start seeing the transition where niggas start wearing fades, right? Or niggas start wearing braids, right? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, niggas when I was coming up, these niggas was dressed like Menudo. These niggas is dressed like Menudo, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? Nigga wasn't nobody really wearing no flat tops and all that shit until later on, until they start getting Spanish barbers to cut, or they was to go to black barbers and get them cut. But so even with the immigration, even with the immigrants, what we talking about or whatever, yes, we did hike on it. We hiked on everybody, nigga. If we can get it, everybody who's around us, who wanna be in it, and who wanna be around us, can get it. And then you had some people who was just fresh from their country and they didn't understand the aspects of the games that we was playing. So therefore they took that shit personal. A lot of fights started as a result of niggas hiking on each other. I call it hiking. Niggas call it Jones and niggas call it playing a dozen or whatever. We call it hiking. Nigga, you or hiking or ranking. Nigga ranking on a nigga. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's called, ranking on a nigga. And but I look back at it now and see, you know what I'm saying, and see like how shit is now. Now everything is equivalent, but people still hike now. Cause my daughter tell me that, people be hiking in school and shit like that. But however it go, anyway, niggas, you could say, okay, yeah, niggas started it because you figure if you want to say xenophobic or whatever, of course, if you live in a certain community and you've been living around your people your whole entire life, and some foreign people come in there that you don't understand, and you're a kid, of course you're gonna be kind of like some kids will embrace it. Oh, this is my friend such and such. Oh, she from here, this and the third. And some niggas will sit over there and be hiking, man. You know what I'm saying? Some motherfuckers be hiking. Some of the girls will be hiking too. Shit. Some of the girls will be hiking. Girls used to hike, man. I don't even want to get started. But what this nigga said, as far as saying that, oh, okay, the Africans, the Africans started it, or some of these other people, it hits differently when you hear them saying, oh, you hear them coming here and them going and them having these negative things to say about our people, considering that your ass is here, considering that you're not in your country and you're here as as a result of our people doing what the fuck we had to do. And then you coming over here, you bragging about your country, and then I can just Google it, just type the shit right in YouTube. Oh, this is where you live at right here? Oh, okay, okay, all right. This where you live at right here? You live on this block right here where there's no fucking sidewalks or no street signs or no street lights or no goddamn numbers on the house. Do you live there? No, nobody who come here live there. Everybody gonna say that they live in the technology, the technical part, the technology, the most technical part. Y'all get it. The part of Africa that has the most technology and inventions or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You don't see in these places, you don't see no corner stores and shit like that. You see motherfuckers selling fruit and shit on the side of the goddamn street or whatever. And then you come in here and then you got something to say. Don't come here and say nothing. Keep your mouth shut. Don't come here and say nothing. Oh, when you come over here and you feel as though you worked, oh, I had to work for this, I had to work to get this, or whatever. But you got that opportunity as a result of Black Americans or Aboriginal Americans or Black Indians. That's how the opportunity. And then, like I said, in some cases, everybody don't know about the social security number thing. Some of these people think of, oh yeah, well, I do want to have diversity in this company. So they can start hiring anybody who look like us and not knowing that this person an immigrant. He just came over here. How you gonna get this motherfucker opportunity over somebody who family been here from the 1600s or family been here from the time that this land rose out of the goddamn water? And you want me to? We don't got equal opportunity sometimes. But nonetheless, though, let's get back into the bill, man. Hit the like button, man. Share the bill out. Appreciate it.
Acceptable. And some of the things I've seen us say about them is unacceptable. So I'm not giving one side more blame than the other. They're equally wrong.
Yes. And you know, I think when I look at it, when I look at all of the movements together, you know, I'm just concerned that we do have a lot of infighting. But with that being said,
Well, that's okay because I'm bringing the solution to this. Since we're knocking on the door of FDMG being ready, there needs to be a progressive American African movement that looks out for the best interests of the American African people, that does not demonize our brothers and sisters abroad, and that looks to build relationships with them as far as that can be done. So my movement to counteract the negativity of these movements we're discussing is going to be the DAFA movement. DAFA, descendants of African freedmen in America. Remember, Loom, after freedom came, we were known as what? Freedmen. That was a legal classification. We were the freedmen. My 3 times great.
And that's another thing that needs to be stopped. A lot of people promote that shit. My nigga, it been black people freed since you niggas claimed the 20 so odd niggas hit the fucking land of Virginia, my nigga. Everybody is not a fucking freeman neither. That is the most, like, that story gets so how do you want to say, like, it's so many rumors and false lies with the whole free man shit. Because even if you look at it like this, right, some of the freemen was descendants of white mothers who father never abandoned missing them. That don't mean the majority of so-called melanated people were enslaved or were slaves or were in bondage. Doesn't mean that. Not in a way that these people are saying it. You understand what I'm saying? So he's saying, oh, he made his shit for freemen. So what about people who wasn't freemen? Because everybody wasn't a fucking freeman. You had people, I done seen people lineage to where I don't know nothing about no slaves in their lineage. I've never seen any in my family lineage. I don't know nothing about, I don't know how would you say I'm a slave except that if my people was melanated and they was here in America. So the whole, oh, if you're melanated and you was here in America, then you had to be a slave because there was no black people here prior to that. So that automatically makes you a slave. So you automatically a slave no matter how you looked at, unless you prove that America was a Negro continent, like your boy A1 been trying to prove or been trying to promote. You understand what I'm saying? Other than that, you get falsely classified with that. You get falsely classified as being African, even though you done did your genealogy. You know, you ain't got no, you ain't see no slaves. Nobody was, these surnames we got are our surnames. These are not, the white people came here and took these surnames. The white people you see with the surnames because they was working on our properties. That's how they got the fucking surname. But most of the other white people, like a lot of the Jews, right? When they came here, they took on Brown, Evans. They took on a lot of these so-called names that our people already had. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we already had these names. Europeans ain't give us these names. And that's why it's good that, I'll be playing Dr. Marie Charles, because she's saying it from the other side of the fucking ocean that the foundational black Britons, them names that they got are not slaves' names neither. So now that shit only enforces the fact that, all right, well, if these people got the same surnames we got, and then we've been lied to, saying, oh, the British went to Africa and brought Africans over here and then gave them their surnames, and this is the reason why we got their surname. But yet the original Britons that's over there saying that no, these surnames didn't come from them. So how the fuck did they get them? Oh, because they're trying to rub off or push off their names. Now, remember Slav. We looked at the word Slav. The word Slav is slave. We looked up other mentions of the word slave. It said in Man, you know what? Let me pull it up. Let me see something real quick. Let me see. Hold up real quick. Let me see something. All right. I can pull up on my other computer. My other computer open right here. Just hold on 1 second. How it go though? But the thing of it is at this point in time, we're so proficient when it comes to this. And niggas like him who pride himself on education, he pride himself on education. He pride himself on being so educated and this, that, and the third, right? What you saying? Hold on, what the fuck is my bad, hold up. Tells you. So these niggas claim that they gave you your surname. They gave we have their surnames as a result of us being slaves, right? But then they eliminate themselves from being slaves entirely. When the surname, the word slave actually comes from them. Like you can't make this shit up. And then, like I said, a lot of these dudes who be out here who be acting like they so fucking educated, they so educated. Let me see something. There you go. They be acting like they so educated. You already know a person. So what is a slave? I ain't showing it. I'm just reading it from the other computer. It say, what is a slave? A person who is a chattel or property of another, right? And then it says medieval, go down, da 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 da. Then it says originally, comma. I mean, yeah, comma, Slav, right? See, Slav. So using the secondary sense because of the so many Slavs sold in slavery by conquering people, right? So let's take a walk real quick. Let me see something. Let's take a walk real quick. Let's walk, 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 walk. And like I said, every now and then this shit has to be. You have to kind of like reiterate this, man, because there's so many people who don't clearly understand this shit. Let me see something real quick. This is what's this? Okay. All right. So servant, right? So servant denotes to the word slave. I don't want to read the whole thing. I'm just trying to get to where the term slave is at. Let's check this out. All right. It say the English word slave derived from the enslavement of the Slavic people. Thus, when the word slave was coined in the West, the impression was a Caucasian slave. Only the last century has the shocking history of slavery been selectively read through the lens of American race issue for political gain. The story of slavery is more complex than you have ever been told. Do you know that up to 1,250,000 white slaves were shipped to North Africa? Did you know that slavery was so common in ancient Britain that the Anglo Saxon word for Britain was used interchangeable for slave? Okay. Did you know that owning a selling slave was universal? The story of slave is more complex than we realize, and should be reassessed. Our relationship with history and legacy by acquainting ourselves with facts. That's from the Diary of Samuel Pepe. It's Algeria slaves, 1661. No, February 8th, 1661, my nigga. Stop fucking playing. And this stupid nigga Umar don't know this shit. This stupid nigga Umar don't know this shit. You understand what I'm saying? So look, even with this, at the height of academics, the media fraud is revealed in a whatever trademark status of official controllers of education and mass communication. It says has successfully established between the definition of the word slave and the word negro, while laboring descriptions of the historical experience of white slavery is a fallacy. It say yet the very word slave, which the establishment consensus schools of history pretends cannot legitimately be applied to white, comma. It's saying it is derived from the word slave. According to the English Dictionary, the word slave is another name for the word white people in Eastern Europe. So we know this, but this stupid nigga up here who claim he's so fucking educated by this eugenics education that this nigga sits up there and reference and use reference for, he have never said a white person was a slave. And like, listen, put it like this too, right? None of these FBA motherfuckers ever said that shit. I think Tariq Nasheed said it. But he don't understand. He don't understand it. He don't understand it like the god of Kiel and the rest of the gods and goddesses understand. He don't understand it like that. He's still taking it and trying to make it fit in and trying to all along. He's trying to eliminate white people from being entirely slaves because they need to be slaves for them to get this reparation. They don't think they can get reparation no other way than being fucking slaves, my nigga. You understand what I'm saying? White people were slaves, my nigga. Stop acquiescing to that term. Stop acquiescing. Stop understanding and overstand the fact that these people were slaves. These people were slaves in America, my nigga. In America, my nigga. This you can't make this shit up. No, let me real quick. Y'all ain't seen this already because I already got the shit up. I don't need to kind of go, but all white people are Slavs, my nigga. And then they try to tell you, oh no, well, the Britons, all them people was bought there. All them people was bought there. The people that's in Spain was bought there. The people that's in Portugal was bought there. The people that was in Sicily, Italy, all the places was fucking bought there. Them people are not originally from there. They are originally Slav. They are originally Eastern Europe fucking Europeans, my nigga. If you want to say that, because I believe that they was created here and they was taken over there. That's what I believe. I believe they was created right here in the fucking Americas, my nigga. And they was taken over there. You understand? So don't let nobody sit here and keep on trying to make you feel bad because everybody else is fucking programmed and indoctrinated with the European. And that's why I try to tell even some of my colleagues when they deal with this source shit. They deal with this source shit, my nigga. You could make this, you could use the source however you want to use it. You could use it for the wrong reason or you could use it for the right reason. You understand what I'm saying? But as long as you keep on act as long as you keep on agreeing with these people and you not investigating nothing that they putting out here, you just taking the source because it fits something that you say, then you are under the same indoctrination as this nigga Umar Johnson right here. You're under him. That's why I don't try to jump and I don't try to be in every like when it comes to this shit, I keep my shit like broad. I mean, I'm not broad, but I keep it kind of like, condensed. I stay along certain lines that shit that we need to know. We need to know it was black people in America. We need to know that we had the technology and the structures and the science to transverse this motherfucking continent. We need to know that type of shit. That's the shit that is very important. You need to know some form of genealogy. But you need to know that your people was highly intelligent. Your people created all of the motherfucking inventions. This is stuff that we need to know. Some of this other shit, it just is it's just like, yo, it's just good if just for YouTube. You understand what I'm saying? So I try to stay within a certain guideline of this shit right here. You know what I'm saying? I don't try to go all into that. I already showed you we left from here. We had settlements over in fucking Europe. We had settlements over in Europe. The same science that we use, the same science that we use to create the Amazon rainforest, we use to create the what's the name, the Mediterranean garden. And all of the gardens over there that they say with the Valencia and how they can look at Valencia and come over and look into Al Andalusia in the Americas and look and say that this shit is identical because we took it from over there and we went over there. So I try to keep it, and that even connects to what Dr. Marie Charles is saying about how they got the last name Sanders over there and we got the last name Sanders. That don't mean somebody from over there came over here and gave us the last fucking name. That don't mean that. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, it's a lot. It's a lot when it comes to this. And you have to kind of stay within your guideline and stay within what really matters. What really matters? What really matters is we weren't slaves. Also, what matters to me, because I don't know what matters to anybody else. I'm just saying what matters to me. Matters to me, we weren't slaves. What also matters was we didn't come from Africa. Also matters is that we had science and technology and trade routes that extended from this land all the way throughout the Caribbean, through Central and South America, all the way over abroad. You understand what I'm saying? Why do you think all of them European countries got oranges and lemon? The original orange and lemon only grew in Atlanta flowers and grew in Florida. But they took the seeds there. They took the seeds there and they found another environment that will allow that they use an environment that they can kind of clone. They cloned the environments, or not cloned the environment, but they found the environment that was conducive of the environment in Florida that would be able to grow certain fruits and even certain vegetables that come from over here in other places. All right. So if you don't understand that at this point in time, I don't know what to tell nobody. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not running this game of trying to tell nobody anything, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. I'm satisfied with the work I put out. I'm satisfied with the work I put out. I'm happy with myself and the information that I put out. Even though, other people I may not be going from platform to platform, or I may not be inviting on other people's platforms. I'm on my own platform. If somebody want to invite me, cool. If they don't invite me, I'm perfectly fine with teaching over here and then this shit going out. So, like I said, and this is quality information. This is quality information. Quality information is black slave owners. Quality information is white people being slaves. That's quality information, my nigga. That's something that will change your whole paradigm, will change your whole mind state. Do you understand that? Black people being in America. This is quality information. You understand what I'm saying? It's quality information, bro. Invention, structures. Oh my God. Let's get back into what this clown is saying, man.
Great-grandfather George fought in the Civil War. My 4 times great-grandfather Steve fought in the Civil War. My cousins Lewis and Charles, the sons of Frederick Douglass, fought in the Civil War. I'm a descendant of freedmen who fought to keep this country from being divided. And we have rights as freedmen. So we're fighting as descendants of African, not no American. You ain't never putting that in no title, no organization of mine. Descendants of African freedmen in America.
I like that. Do you think you're going to get pushback for even launching that?
It don't matter. I'm stronger than both of them groups put together.
Okay. Now, with that being said, I do believe that reparations, the debt is lineage specific. So I don't want to remove the point. Like I like how you put it, right? That before America was America, there were the same behavior. Yeah. So, but I think the British should pay for that.
Yes.
Or did you say were the funds transferred
part of your reparations?
To start a podcast with Riverside, all you need is a concept and a way to record it. Here's how it works. First,
it's coming from who? The British. And if we go 1619, right? to 1719, that's 100 years. And then 1719 to 1776, that's like almost 60. So 160 years of your 250. Guess what? Most of your time in American slavery was under the British, not the Americans. Did you see that?
Yeah.
We just did the math. Most of your time enslaved in America was under the British. Is it not common sense, Loon, to unite with my African brothers and sisters in?
See, that's another bullshit ass story, right? Using the British, right? Because first of all, I just told you the British. Let me hold up. Hold up, real quick. Real quick. Let me show y'all something. Cause see, this nigga, this nigga he don't know this shit, man. He don't know a lot of this shit, bro. And it's to the point to where like he don't fully understand. Just like even him talking about the Civil War, right? The Civil War was for white slaves, man. That was the ultimate cause of the Civil War. It was to free white people, right? But check this out. Since he want to say the British, check this out. I just want to read something real quick. Real quick, hold up. Let me find it. Let me find it. Looking for it. Let me see. All right, here we go. Hold up, let me. All right. So this is actually a source. This is from the Negro Question, Part 6. The 13 Black Colonies by Lee Cummings, right? And he's saying that, the Negro Question, Volume 6, Lee Cummings is a author. Is saying that also talks about Black King James in the Bible. They're saying Black Swartz, the Black Jacobites, and how the original 13 British colonies were black, right? It's saying his book also includes the eyewitness accounts of leading European historians and scholars such as Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and Thomas Jefferson was a nigga. I got this shit all in this lecture right here, right? And Church Ward, etc., right? It's saying Benjamin Franklin said that the black nations of Europe in his generation was France, Spain, Russia, Italy, America, Asia, Africa, Sweden, and Germany. It's saying Benjamin Franklin goes to say that the only whites on earth at that time was Saxon, which we know that they was Slavs, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? But then even when you get into this, right? See, this nigga Umar Johnson, he won't entertain none of this shit, right? He won't entertain. So you get the 5 founding black fathers of the 13 colonies, right? Who was allowed charters, nigga, by the Mama Namatak, nigga, the king of all kings in America. These niggas didn't just come up here and just come over here from Britain and was able to do this shit. They had to have permission to do this. And understand this too, right? When we talk about even crossing the Atlantic Ocean, even we talk about crossing the Atlantic Ocean, right? We talk about the Rock of Gibraltar. The Rock of Gibraltar was the military fort. Did not let people come through the Pillars of Hercules into the Atlantic Ocean. So you had to get verification to even go that far to get through the Pillars of Hercules to come through the Atlantic Ocean. Then once you got in the Atlantic Ocean, you had the Marines. The Marines are the Americans, all right? The American ships that was defending the shorelines of the Americas. So then you had to go through that. Then once you got to the shore, you couldn't just land on the shore. You were still met by a fleet of ships that probably kept you out maybe 10 miles offshore and kept you in your boats. And then we probably had to go, you see how the motherfucker could connect a ladder to where he can go on another boat. And then he'd be like, all right, what is your business coming in our land? Or fuck is this, man? This motherfucker, man. I ain't got time for this nigga right now. I'm sorry about that. Coming into our landmass, right? And then you say, well, what is your business? All right, well, we here, we got an offer for the Mama Nama talk. We want to set up colonies on your land. We want permission. All right, and then whatever the military leader was at that point in time, he'd tell him, all right, well, you're gonna have to wait right here. I'm gonna go on shore and I'm gonna ask for permission to make sure everything is good and everything that you guys are not enemies or you're not spies or etc. like that, shit like that, right? So then he would go to the Mama Nama talk. The Mama Nama talk probably on shore playing golf. Probably on shore playing golf or fucking eating or somebody feeding them grapes or you know the shit, right? Then he go to him with the paper like, all right, well, boom, such and such. How do you want to say King Stewart or King Charles Stewart or King George the Third. He's off land and he want permission to come here and set up colonies, right? So then he'll give him the West name. He say, oh, okay, all right, okay. All right, then he'll probably forget that these niggas is still out on shore probably for a whole fucking week. And them niggas will probably be in the water for a whole fucking week. And then he'll remember and say, oh yeah. Bring King James and King George, bring them on board. Come on. Bring them on board. And then he would say, all right, well, boom, I'm gonna give you a charter to where you can set up something in Virginia, King James. Or I'm gonna give you a charter to where you can set up something in Maine, King James. Or I'm gonna give you a charter where you can set up something in New England, King James. Or I'm gonna give you a charter where you can set something up in Maryland, King Charles. Or I'm gonna give you a charter where you can set something up in New Hampshire, King Charles. Or I'm gonna give you something where you can set up something in Rhode Island, King Charles. Or I'm gonna give you a charter to where you can set up something in Delaware, King Charles, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And these are all niggas that's setting up all these places, these 13 colonies, where these niggas are telling you the Africans is brought here by white people. And in 2026, these niggas is teaching this to the. Hold on for a second, y'all. My bad, y'all. That was business. All right, but yes. So you in 2026, my nigga, they still teaching people false history, even though that you got people out here teaching this different history and connecting the dots and cross-referencing information, but they still would believe these so-called institutions, these so-called universities, these so-called secret societies that have been set up to misinform us and to make us inferior mentally. That's why they keep on calling us slaves. And I just read to you what the fucking word slave mean, but none of these niggas in 2026 have ever asked. They ain't even asked fucking AI this shit. They didn't even ask AI this shit. They didn't even ask AI this shit. And like I said in my last let me see something real quick. In the last build I just did, right? I asked AI, and I don't think I said this to you guys, but hold up. Let me open this up real quick. Hold up. I asked AI, and I'm gonna read it to you right now. What I asked AI, and this is what AI told me. And we got this nappy head fuck nigga who's still the Prince of Pan African, who's still running around here lying to the fucking people, telling the people that we're all Africans, right? Now check this out. I'm gonna read something to y'all, and this is in the introduction to America was a Negro continent, right? So, all right, let me see. Here, go right here. All right, boom. So what I asked AI was this. I asked AI, who created, matter of fact, you know what? I have to make a phone call real quick. I'm gonna pause this. I'm gonna play some more to Umar Johnson, and I'll be right back. I just need the phone call is only gonna be like 2 minutes, all right? But I need to make sure I handle this to see if this guy want to go do this job for me. All right, so I'm gonna play this real quick, and I'll be right back, and I'm gonna read this. All right.
In Ghana, in Malawi, in Nigeria, in Jamaica, in other places around the British Empire who are fighting for the same thing when we are all kith and kin anyway? Does it make sense for me to be at odds with a Jamaican who may very well be my blood cousin? Does it make sense for me to be at odds with a Nigerian who might very well be my blood uncle? Lou, we are fighting with people who may very well be from your same ancestral line. That is ridiculous.
This year, we opened 2 new restaurants while running, how many?
5 others.
5 other restaurants. So we turned to Upwork. We found freelance pros to help with branding, digital menus, even AI tools to streamline operations. It was fast, affordable, and honestly a huge weight off our shoulders. Through platforms like Upwork, we found some freelance creatives who absolutely nailed our logo. Let me show you. Look at our logo.
And we don't fight white people half as much.
Now you see how that shit is. Soon you step away, a commercial come on, right? All right. Now let's get back into what I was saying, right? So in the introduction to America's and Negro content, I'm not sharing it. I'm reading it from my other computer, right? This is what I asked. I asked AI who created the concept that all black people was from Africa, and this is what it says, right? So it starts off say it's saying ancient understanding of human origins. It's saying ancient civilizations did not define people strictly by race. It's saying Greeks, Romans, Africans understood human diversity through geographic, culture, language, not skin color, right? So let's go to the next slide. All right, so all right, so it's a European racial classification from 1600 to 1800, which we know them dates is wrong. When no Europeans running nothing to be classifying nobody nothing. It should happen probably within the early 19th century or the late 1900s. Okay, so it said European scholars began classifying humans by race during colonial expansion. Right, colonial expansion was in the late 1900s. They weren't no colonial. See, they want you to think colonial expansion is the start of Christopher Columbus and all of this other bullshit. But if there was a Christopher Columbus, which we believe it wasn't, but let's play along with them. If it was a Christopher Columbus had to be a nigger because the people who they was working for was niggas. King Ferdinand, Isabella was a slave, a white woman that was taken out of the motherfucking Moorish harems, and he took her and married her, my nigga. The same thing we see with the intermixing of when we see people that were slaves here in America that identifiably look like Negroes. They had white mothers, but that's a whole nother story. So it's say thinkers like Carl Linnaeus and Johann Frederick Blombach categorize Africans as a separate racial group, right? Now check this out. Hold up. All right, so it says, all right, so Bloomberg and his racial heredities. It said Bloomberg proposed racial category that influenced later racial identities. These ideas often place Africans at the bottom of the false racial heredity. Right now, read between the lines, all right, because he's talking about African, but check it out. In a minute, it's going to kind of clarify our points, right? So I say colonialism and enslavement. Linking black people exclusively to Africa helped justify slavery and colonial rule. It frames Africa as foreign, even when black populations existed elsewhere for centuries. Okay? Now check this out. I'm sorry, hold up. Hold on one second. All right, let me read this, man. I get so tired when people be texting me, but hey, it's hard to shut it down. All right, so 19th, 20th century anthropology, right? It said anthropology often ignored African diaspora outside of Africa. It's saying black populations in the Americas, Europe, and Asia was framed as having no deep local roots, right? Now, mind you, I asked AI this shit, right? And I'm not saying everything AI get right because I had to ask AI this shit in a sequence of different, I had to rearrange it in different ways, right? But it's a Pan Africanism and reclaiming Africa. It's saying black intellectuals like W.E.B. Du Bois and Marcus Garvey reclaimed Africa as a shared heritage. This was a political and cultural response, not a claim that Africa was the only origin of black identity. Okay? Let me read that last part again. This was a political and cultural response, not a claim that Africa was the only origin of black identity. Okay? Let's check this out. Boom. Modern misinterpretations, right? The idea that all black people only belong to Africa is a distortion. Black history include ancient, present, no, ancient, I'm sorry, ancient, present. I'm sorry, hold on, let me open this shit up. I'm sorry. All right, say Africa include ancient presence in Europe, Asia, and the Americas. Right now, check this out. Conclusion. It's saying a concept was shaped largely by European racial science, eugenics, colonial identity, right? Africa is a shared, now this is what it alludes to, right? But this is kind of like, I don't believe this, but this is kind of like something that I'm gonna go off on. I'm gonna just build on this too, right? It say Africa is a shared ancestry homeland of humanity, but black history is global, complex, and ancient, right? Now, if that's the case, if Africa was a shared ancestry homeland, why when everybody else they saying everybody come from Africa, right? Everybody come from Africa, right? Everybody come from Africa, right? We've been out of Africa, according to their hit science, for fucking 500 some odd years, almost 600 years, right? 500 years, right? But we still, according to them, when we do DNA, it still comes back to Africa, right? Chinese people are supposed to be from Africa, right? But they don't have no identifiably African DNA traits, right? Or no haplogroups, right? White people supposed to be from Africa, they don't have it neither. Indian people don't have it neither, and everything else that's on the planet don't have it neither, right? Which is something to think about, right? But however it go, this is what when I ask AI who created the concept that all black people came from Africa, and this is what it gave me. You understand what I'm saying? So like what this guy saying up here, he don't know, he don't have a fucking clue. He don't have a clue at all. He has no fucking clue. Right? All right, so boom. Let's get into this Iran thing real quick. Because a lot of people, like even with this Trump thing, right? Now listen, right? A lot of people say, all right, well, America is ran by the Jews, right? Right? Look, if you believe Israel control America, put a one in the comment. If you don't believe it, put a two in the comment. I'm waiting for y'all in the chat room, man. Help me out. If you believe that Israel runs America, put a 1 in the chat. I mean, put a 1 in the comment section. If you don't believe it, put a 2 in the chat, comment section. All right, we got 1, 2. We got another 2. All right, we got a 1. Another 1. Another 1. All right, so boom. So let me iron this out for you, right? All right. And I actually got this shit right here. I just don't feel like, oh my God. I just don't really feel like going into this shit, right? Because I was going to do this for a whole nother bill, right? So it's titled Rothschilds, Judah Benjamin, and the Knights of the Golden Circle. So y'all already know the Knights of the Golden Circle is the military branch of the KKK, right? Boom, right? So in this article right here, right, it talks about all the so-called Masonic groups, right? Let me see something. It was one part in here I wanted to get to. Let me see something. It was one part in here that I really wanted to, because this shit is real deep. I just don't feel like going through it all because I was going to add it to part of another bill. But it's pretty much saying that the Rothschild funded the Civil War, right? And the Rothschild also has something to do with at least 5 so-called U.S. presidents, which we know all these presidents was niggas. Because even after Lincoln got killed, Hannibal, which was his vice president, was a nigga. And Andrew Johnson was a nigga, right? I think all of the presidents, all the way up until I forgot the president at Birth of a Nation. Hold up, let me see. I got the nigga name right here because it's in this build. What was the president at Birth of a Nation? Let me see. No, it's probably in this one. All right. Woodrow. And look, and even Woodrow was a mulatto. All right. All of these white motherfuckers that you see in America was all mulattoes at that point in time. When we look from the Civil War all the way up into 1900s or whatever. I say 1800s, 1900, but I know the 18th century is the 19th century, and the 19th century is the 20th century, right? That's how it goes. But I'm saying 19 from 1800s to the 1900s. All right, maybe I need to word it like that. From the mid, or I could say from their existence here. I could say from their existence here. I could say from their existence here. Okay, that's what I could say. I could say from their existence here because I'm starting to look at this shit, right? This is another thing when I'm starting to look at. And this is just a theory at this point in time, right? I think I think if you want to say that the homunculus was created, right? The homunculus was created. Yeah, there was homunculus men, but I don't know exactly what they did with the men, right? I think they used the men sometime just for slavery, right? But they used the women more to mate with them, right? They use the homunculus women more to mate with them, right? And through the interbreeding between what we call the original density being, which you want to call black man, you want to call the Aborigine, whatever you want to call them, intermixing with the Slavic woman, right? Through her vessel came mulattoes, people who look identifiably like Aborigines, but they was able to keep a record on them because they know that it can't that the Aborigine came through a Slavic vessel, right? Came through the Slavic woman. You know what I'm saying? So his status would have been a slave, or he would have been in bondage because of the condition of the mother, the condition of the child, right? So most of these white men you see, the Rockefellers, Albert Pike, all of these niggas were fucking mulattoes, my nigga. And what they did was to try to keep their race pure so that they wouldn't eventually get engulfed and keep intermixing with us. You know what I'm saying? What they did was they created the Racial Integrity Act. They created the Mann Act. They created the what's the other one? Not the Racial Integrity. There's one more I'm missing. Racial Integrity. It's one more. It's one more missing. It's gonna come to me in a minute or whatever. That was invented. That they created that one in 1888 or some shit like that. I can't think of it right now. Damn, I can't think of it right now. Not the Racial Integrity Act. Damn, I can't think of it right now. Y'all gotta bear with me. See somebody put in the chat room. Ain't nobody put in the chat room. Nah, not Hoover. It was I think it was Woodrow Wilson. Let me see something. I think it was Woodrow Wilson. Let me. It's in this one though. Let me see. No, it's not in this one. But who was the president in 1915? That's when Birth of a Nation came out. That was by D.W. Griffin. I can't think of his fucking name. It might have been Woodrow Wilson. I think it might have been Wilson. However it go though, right? However it go. However it go. All right, so boom. So I asked y'all a question. Do you believe that Israel controls America? No, Israel don't control America. The people who control Israel control America. Put it like that. Who was Israel built by? Who was the people that played this whole propaganda shit of making them look like these was people who was being who was being exterminated. All of that shit is propaganda. All that's propaganda. The whole story is propaganda. Another propaganda story was for us to get our military move out of America and go over there and fight that proxy war so that they can come over here simultaneously. This is when they was taking over shit. Because if you look at it, Jim Crow is around the same time that you see World War One and Two being fought, right? Jim Crow is around the same time. What people don't know is a lot of these so-called areas where when we see the KKK and them move into, these was areas that had their own personal military. They had their own military. Now check this out. Let me go back a little bit, right? The Rothschilds created the United States of America Constitution, my nigga, in 1866 or 1865 through 67 or whatever. It's been a while. I gotta look it up or whatever, right? They created that, right? So what they did was this, right? First, they created the propaganda. They created the propaganda, right? They start going around with these militia groups telling these white people they could be free. They don't have to work on these plantations for us, et cetera, right? So what they did was they created propaganda. Then they used that propaganda to get these people into trying to fight for freedom, right? Once they fought for freedom or whatever, we told these motherfuckers this. We said, listen, you can either stay on our plantations or stand on and work for us, or you can go west, right? It's where you get the Western, all this Western expansion from. You get all this Western because they ask yourself, why would somebody go in the desert unless they was forced to go out there? Why would somebody go in the desert? Why would somebody take a trek? If you already living in the South area and the regions around, the Gulf and all this other shit, why would you go in a desert? Western movies, you see nothing but hay barrels flying around. You see the desert, right? Who the fuck would go there if they was living around vegetation and fruit? Why would you go there, right? So after that, what happened was the Rothschild said, all right, well, boom, you got certain secret societies. Because remember, Jesse James, Frank James, all of these motherfuckers, the nigga who killed Booth and all of these niggas who ended up becoming a 13th family, right? After a lot of the original people who was part of the 13th family died on the Titanic. Okay, so now what the Rothschilds did was the Rothschild created that constitution for them, right? through propaganda and everything, right? They created the Constitution of 1867, whichever one it was, the United States of, because before it was the United States for, right? They created that Constitution, and what they did was fund these niggas to start the United States of America Corporation. Okay, they funded them to start the United States American Corporation, right? And A1, what do you mean? The United States, but no, it was the United States for America. The United States of America was created by the Confederates. The Confederates was mulatto, and a lot of the Confederates was part of the Knights of Golden Circle. They was KKK. They're the same ones who built the Bureau of Indian Affairs. They're the same ones who made the Dawes Act. They're the same ones who made all of these so-called acts and all of this other shit that lead up until the 19th century. The Rothschilds is the ones who funded the United States of America. The Rothschilds, the ones who funded a lot of the so-called what they call outlaws to run up in a lot of these motherfucking banks and take a lot of our fucking gold and take a lot of our fucking money. The Freeman Bank, the Freeman banks wasn't the Freeman Bank. They took the money from other banks and somehow gave it to Freeman, because understand this too. Some of the Freemen were motherfucking mulattoes, my nigga. And some of the Freemen was mulattoes. Now this a whole. I don't really want to. I'm kind of like trying to lay out the story from how I seen it and how I was how this shit was explained to me, and the information that I was able to um gather to pretty much explain a lot of this shit, right? So the Rothschilds created the United States of America. They also simultaneously, so that has something to do with when they was talking about Lincoln making the gold or the silverback, right? They killed him for making the silverback. And this is when you got and even Andrew Jackson, which was a nigga too. He didn't like no what's name. He didn't like the what's name bankers. You understand what I'm saying? Because all of that was coming from Rome. Rome was the one that was funding them. And see, whole thing of it is to like, if a nigga give you a loan, he own you. Or if a nigga create a system and control the resources. And another thing, what they wanted to do around the 1900s, right, that started a lot of this war, they wanted to take the cotton industry from our people. The cotton industry is a vast industry. Motherfuckers was millionaires off of that. Off of just the cotton industry alone. Not long we had other industries going on, but then the other industry that took off was the oil industry, right? Was the oil industry. Now they want you to believe, oh, Sarah Rector was the richest girl in Oklahoma. Everybody in Oklahoma was rich. And we was rich because even though we had oils, the oil and shit was circulating amongst all of our people because everybody had cars. When we go into that Sir Solomon Jones film, we show everybody at that time had a goddamn car, and this is a combustible engine, and the engine needed oil. The oil came from that area in Oklahoma. You understand what I'm saying? So even part of the so-called riot that they did when they did it at Greenwood Arch and Prime or Black Wall Street, right? That was a riot because that was a KKK or a Rothschild. That the Rothschilds are the ones that pretty much created that riot for, and then they went back in story and changed. Oh, it was a guy with black guy looking at a white woman, or whatever. All white women wanted black men at that time. They have never really fucked with. They had to convince white women to sleep with white men. White women were never sleeping with white men. They was always sleeping with black men. They was always sleeping with black men. If you think, listen, even let me just say this, right? If you think that white men hated you in America, right? If you think they hated you in America for sleeping with white men, what about the harems that they had over there in fucking Europe, my nigga? Why didn't white men do anything about that? Why didn't they run in them harems and kill them niggas and hang them niggas and everything? Because they had to be subjects. They had to have no dominion. But like I said, after these niggas got freed is when a lot of this shit started. But anywho, let's get into it, right? So World War One and Two, we know was funded by the Rothschilds, right? This is when you get the Berlin Conference, or all these niggas trying to come together and trying to create their own system and trying to get everybody to get on their own system. When we get into what the Knights of the Golden Circle, and they say, like I just told you, this article I'm reading right here, I didn't even read the article, but it say Rothschild, Judah Benjamin, and the Knights of the Golden Circle. And if you know, I went into the Knights of Golden Circle. This nigga Judah Benjamin was an agent. He was working with Albert Pike. He was working with Nathan Forrest Bethel. He was working with all of these motherfuckers, right? And he also was working. Let me see something. Let me go into this one. All right, so hold up. Let me go into this one real quick. See, because y'all didn't hear this one, but when I get a chance, I'm gonna go into this one in depth, right? Oh, hold up. What time is it? 2 o'clock. All right. Do I really want to get into this? Yeah, I want to get into it, but I kind of don't want to kind of like be all over the place. But anyway, all right, boom. So look, let me get so the Bureau of Indian Affairs. We know who created the Bureau of Indian Affairs. The Bureau of Indian Affairs was created by John Calhoun. John Calhoun was what? John Calhoun was in the Knights of the Golden Circle, right? Knights of the Golden Circle, um, Robert Blair, George Brinkley, John Wilk Boots, George C. Calhoun. This is the KKK. How is the nigga that's in the KKK responsible for the Bureau of Indian fucking Affairs? Now it even get worse than this, right? Hold up. It even get worse than this because I skipped past. I didn't even go into this, right? So the Dawes Acts of and all of this shit, the Dawes Acts, the Curtis Acts, all of the Bureau of Indian Affairs, all this shit was being controlled by the Rothschilds. All this shit was being controlled by the Rothschilds. Now check this out. So the Dawes Act, y'all already know, but I'm gonna kind of get into it a little bit more. Hold on, I got another. Let me see something. It might be this one. Ain't this one. It's this one. Let me see something real quick. Damn, do I want to get into? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to figure because it's a lot of shit that I gotta fucking go through to read to kind of explain this shit to you, and I'm trying to condense it so I don't have to, so I don't make it real long winded. Don't wanna. All right, I can kind of like summarize this, right? All right, so between 1898 and 1914, the Dawes Commission traveled through Indian territory with a mission that will fundamentally reshape indigenous identity in North America. Their task created roles listing every member from the 5 civilized tribes. And understand, too, the Rothschild also hijacked the 5 civilized tribes as well through Judah Benjamin, Albert Pike, and these niggas, John Calhoun, and these other so-called players that was all fun, that all had something to do with this shit, right? All right. It's saying, but the Dawes rules did not. No, I'm sorry. The Dawes rules did far more than count people. They created categories and separated families and race complex ancestry and institutionalized racial heredity that the tribes had not traditionally maintained. The category imposed by blood. All right, saying these authentically indigenous based on blood quantum and calculation, intermarried whites. It's saying non-indigenous spouse with limited rights, right? Freeman. It's saying, now remember what I told you what the Freeman was. Descendants of the enslaved people. Wasn't all enslaved people. They wasn't enslaved, but they was more enslaved by black people. But that's a whole nother story. It's saying listing separately regardless of indigenous ancestry. It's saying minor freemen, children of freemen. It's saying often with indigenous parentage erased. Doubtful. Those who claim those who claims were questioned, often dark-skinned applicants, right? So let's continue. Let me see something real quick. Oh, fuck. Let me see. Hold up. All right, hold up. All right, so boom. It said the Dawes Act wasn't recording pre-existing identities. It's saying they were creating new ones. They served the colonial left hand. It's saying by separating people into rigid racial boxes. It's saying they reduced the numbers of recognized indigenous people, justifying land seizures, creating internal tribal conflicts over memberships, and weakened collective resistance, established proceeding for blood quantums that would haunt indigenous communities for generations, erased dark-skinned indigenous people by forcing them into the Freeman or black category. Right? So check this out. Let's continue. All right, let me open this up. All right, hit the like button, man. Hit the like button for me, man. Share the build out if you guys can. Oh, fuck, this shit jumped all the way back to the goddamn top. Hold up. Hold up. Just bear with me. All right, so we right here. All right, so it said mechanisms of how the land was actually stolen. It said understand how the land was stolen from Freeman. It said Aboriginal nations required seeing the system as a whole. Phase one, reclassification, force indigenous people to cede land through coercion and treaties. Categorized dark-skinned indigenous people as black, freemen, or colored. Created separate roles that fragmented communities by race. Promised land to free people but never delivered. Phase two, right? Documentation, right? From 1898 to 1914. Dawes Commission creates rigid and racial categories. It's an implied blood quantum to determine authentic identity indigenous identity, place freemen on separate roles regardless of indigenous ancestry, right? It's a created doubtful categories for dark-skinned applicants. It's saying reject applications for those who did not match phenotypical exceptions. Okay. And like I said, this shit is kind of like it's real complex in trying to really explain to you, because a lot of these people who was part of this shit was actually people who look like us, but the people who look like us that was part of this shit was people who was still feeling some type of way because they was deemed slave and they was never a manumission. The story that these niggas tell you of the house nigga and the field negro, the real house nigga is you. The Phil nigga is the motherfucker who hates you. And they got you thinking that the Phil nigga was you and the house nigga was them. No, the house, we the Aborigines. When they tell you your grandfather owned land and all this and the third, you the house nigga. You the house nigga and kind of the Phil nigga. But some of the Phil niggas was the people who was gonna be who was gonna be on the field indefinitely. Just because you work the field don't mean that you always that you was limited to just the field. You know what I'm saying? You may have came up through the field, but other people who was like deemed, some people was deemed slaves for their entire existence in this reality, my nigga. Some people couldn't be free because of the situation with them dealing with these Slavic women. Now a lot of people don't understand that shit, but this is the only shit that kind of really makes sense when we see all of these different categories and the Freeman. We see a lot of different shit or whatever. And like I said, I'm all over the place with this shit, but I'm just trying to condense it down. When I get a chance later on, I will kind of go in depth with this shit. But however it go, look, um, I don't want to go into this. All right, so boom. So I just broke that down. So dealing with the Freeman, dealing with the Curtis Act, dealing with the Bureau of Indian Affairs, we know that All of them players that was involved in that was part of the Knights of Golden Circle. They was part of the Scotch Rite Freemasons. They was part of one of these secret societies, which they all these secret societies entirely was together. When you get into the Boule and you get into the Talented 10, a lot of the Talented 10 was motherfuckers who had white mothers or white aunts, they was the ones who family or who families came from this slave group of people that couldn't be freed unless the father would have manumissioned them. So a lot of them niggas had animosity towards our people. So they formed these societies with this Scotch Rite Freemasons and the Boule and all this other shit. And these are a lot of motherfuckers who was doing a lot of the fucked up shit to us. And they allowed them to keep what they had and for them to be in political spots that can pretty much control us in, I guess I want to say, in the future, right? So, all right, so now the Rothschilds start the United States of America. They try to take over the cotton industry, right? But we didn't just give up the cotton industry, but they somehow ended up taking over the cotton industry, right? And then next came some of the trades, right? Then came the oil, right? Then came the oil, right? Then came the oil. And see, and another thing is too, right? They always want to tell you the Germans had all this science. No, the Germans' science was stolen from the Americas, and the I don't want to say the white Americans or the white tea people were the ones that when they stole a lot of our patents and stole a lot of our invention, they the ones who gave the science to the Germans. The Germans ain't have the science. They want to always tell you, oh, the first car was Mercedes Benz or whatever bullshit. The first car was the Greenfield automobile. Then came Ford. Ford funded the motherfucking Nazis. If the Nazis had Mercedes Benz and had cars already, they wouldn't needed Ford to fund them with vehicles. See, they lie about this whole fucking history. The Germans are Jews as well. Most of the Jews they say came from where? Came from they Khazarian. They came from Western Europe, Western Eastern Europe. The Germans and all them motherfuckers are the same. They all the same fucking people, my nigga. They create this propaganda. World War I, World War II. They trying to kill these certain people to move them to that land over there in between. What's that? Syria, Iran, Afghanistan, um, Iraq, and whatever, right? They move them in that area right there, right? So they start chipping off at the Polynesian, the what's the name people, the people, the whatever, the people right next to them start with the P. I can't think of right now. They start chipping off at them. Boom. Then they start kind of like controlling a lot of the politicians over here. But a lot of the politicians, even with that Epstein shit, is how they also control a lot of the politicians, right? But that's coming really from the Rothschild. Yeah, the Rothschild control America, but a lot of the people in America ain't going to stand for it. So how they get them to stand for it is by blackmailing them. They get them by blackmailing them. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, people like, all right, Trump betrayed America, right, by getting us in the war. You heard what Trump was saying when he first got into the shit. He was like, yo, he trying to get rid of the wars. He wasn't trying to go to war. Da 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 da. Da. But then we seeing some other shit. We seen him went to Venezuela, right? That was for oil, right? Then now we see them over there with they just did this shit in Iran, right? They did some shit earlier this year. I guess that was to see whether or not the people was going to accept it. And then they went full-fledged in now, right? But what a lot of people don't understand is, like I said, the Rothschilds control Israel. The Rothschilds control America, my nigga. They are the ones control America. If you think the Rockefellers and these other families are big, they're only big because of the Rothschilds. The nigga, whatever the fucking minister, I always get this nigga named Benjamin or whatever. He used to work for the Rothschilds. Epstein used to work for the Rothschilds, right? You go into the Rothschilds is also the Jewish mafia in Chicago. In Chicago in the 1900s, right? And they was funding a lot of Italian. Yo, you can't make this shit up, my nigga. So no matter who get into office, they got these handlers that is going to make them sway. Whether you see how the Democrats saying all this and the third, if a Democrat would have been in office, we would have been saying the same thing going. Because the people who run America also is part of the Greater Israel Project, and it ain't the Greater Israel Project. It's the whoever can go around the world and control the fucking resources, my nigga. Whoever control the goddamn resources is the people who can control the goddamn world. And that's what this shit is a race for. It's a race for controlling the resources so that therefore they can control the world. If they control the oil, they can control all these other countries, even China. And even though China got electric running vehicles, let me see what y'all saying in the what's the name. Yeah, he being blackmailed, but no matter what, no matter who they put in office is going to follow the same suit. Whoever they put in office is going to follow the same fucking suit. None of them has any control over it. Why do you think of it like this, right? Think of this, and I want you to think of this for real, right? Whatever harm was done to us in America was done by America, right? Or not by America, by the United States, right? Check, right? If you believe the propaganda campaign about what happened over there in Israel, right? That wasn't done by us, according to them. It was done by the Germans. But that's propaganda. All that shit that they said happened over there was all propaganda. So now in the future, if you was to say anything against so-called God-chosen fucking people, they say you anti-Semitic, and they will always have this excuse. They use that as propaganda to where people. Fuck, man. Hold on, I'm sorry, y'all. Hell no. My bad, y'all. Hold up. Bro, all this shit is connected, bro. All this shit is connected. All of these niggas are all the same fucking people, my nigga. All of them are all the same people, bro. None of these people are no different. They all the same fucking people. All of these niggas are Slavics. All these the Khazarians, the Germans, all these motherfuckers are all the same fucking people, my nigga. They just use different categories or whatever. Like even when you see a lot of the so-called small hats, right? They white people. They fucking white people, my nigga. And that was another thing. Hold up. Let me just turn the shit up. I'll get back to that nigga later on. Okay, these people are all the same fucking people, my nigga. They're all the same fucking people. That's why you can't tell no difference from them and tell it different from a white man. And they look like the Russians, they look like the Germans, they look like all of these same fucking people, my nigga. So no matter who get into office here, right? Oh no, what I was saying, I missed my point on this, right? So the damage that was done to them people over there was done to other Europeans, right? So why America send them all this motherfucking money? But then when black people do mention reparations, they don't even want to answer that. But they send all of these motherfuckers, they send them all money over there. At this point in time, them people should be sovereign and be able to take care of themselves. Why is it so important for them people to get all of this special attention, to get all of the military, and for all them always to get the support of America? Because of the Rothschilds. That's why. That's why. That's why, because the Rothschilds control America and control Europe, and it ain't the Rothschilds. It's the the Romans, them fucking two families, the Medicis and the other two fucking families or whatever. Which these is niggas, and I got this from a real credible fucking source. These are all niggas. The Holy Roman Empire still exists. They still run these people. The Rothschilds work for them. The fucking royal family work for them, right? Because the royal family and these people wouldn't even be in power if it wasn't for them. The motherfuckers who took over the castles in Europe was white people. They wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for Rome. So they all are under the control of Rome. They all doing Rome bidding. Well, I mean, look, the Bible, the Bible is basically a book to control the devil within. It's to give you allegories and give you signs to when you know that the devil within you, the lower self, right? The lower self, right? When we see all these people indulge in the lower self activities. These niggas created porn, and I tell you something else too, right? They the same ones who control who control the movie industry. Why do you think every terrorist is a goddamn Muslim? You think the Muslims will be allowing them to put them in the movies, making all every fucking movie we done seen since True Lies, right? I don't know if y'all remember when True Lies came out with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis, right? That was the first fucking movie I seen where they portrayed a terrorist as a fucking Muslim. Tell me I'm wrong. Somebody find something. No, prior to that, it was Screwface. Prior to that, it was the Mafia. Prior to that, it was the Russians and it was fucking Cuba, right? It was them prior to that, right? Prior to all of the movies prior to that, it was the Russians, it was the Cubans, it was either the Mafia or it was fucking Screwface in them, nigga. You ain't really start seeing no goddamn Muslims being a fucking terrorist until later on. That shit came out in True Lies. If you go back and watch the movie True Lies, where Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jamie Lee Curtis, that was the first fucking movie that you seen where they made a Middle Eastern Muslim a fucking terrorist, my nigga. And from that point on, every movie we watch is always about some terrorism plot with some Muslims or somebody connected to them. Who created that? Who make the movies? Oh, because this is all about what they call Greater Israel. 9/11 went into Iraq and Afghanistan. And I don't listen. I don't really want to get deep with this shit, man. Hit the like button, man. Share the build out, my nigga. This is a heavyweight bill. This is a heavyweight fucking bill. And I don't normally pat myself on the back, but I think that this is a heavyweight bill. This information, this ain't just talking about no fucking bullshit. Okay? Hold on. Let me go get some water real quick, y'all. Hold up. Um, yeah. So the movie True Lies, right? That was the first movie. Hold up. That was the first movie where they started to propagandize people and make people think that the Muslims was the terrorists, right? But even I'm gonna tell you like this: if you go back and look, um, like what happened to the people of Palestine. Go back and look and see what the same shit you see that these people accusing these people of is what they did to the people of Palestine. The same shit you see. Them people was the people over there doing the same shit that they say they seen to these people that the Muslims is doing is the same shit that they was doing back in the 1940s. Now I don't want to get all into it because I get my channel flagged and other shit. But what I'm telling you is they created the propaganda to make you think that these people was a threat, right? How long they been talking about Iran and got weapons of mass destruction? When the last time we heard this same fucking play? We heard the same play with Iraq, right? And then they ain't even have no weapons of mass destruction, and they still eliminate them people. And then when you start hearing these people, oh, we need a regime. No, we need a what's the name switch, right? We need to change the leaders, right? We need to change the leaders, right? When you start hearing them say that, oh, okay, so you want to put some people in play that's going to control that you can control and going to do it, they're going to do your bit. When you start hearing that type of talk, right? You start hearing that type of talk. You start hearing the weapon of mass. We done heard the weapons of mass destruction shit. And even when they didn't have none, what happened? What happened? Somebody tell me in the chat room. Somebody tell me what happened. We done heard this weapons of mass destruction shit till we blew in the face, right? And then even when they didn't find it, what happened? A regime change. Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's right. Every time we hear that, we know what that is. Who the fuck? How the fuck can somebody from another country go tell somebody that they need to change their regime? How? What is it about? Oh, we done heard this already. Same shit they just did down in motherfucking Venezuela. Snatched the president out, created propaganda or whatever. Regardless of whatever he was doing, motherfucker, that's his country. He got a right to fucking do it. Y'all motherfuckers, they doing the same shit over here. We look at the Epstein files. Look at the horrendous shit that was in there. That's similar to what these other niggas be doing in these other countries that these niggas be saying that they need to change these niggas out. So so the reason why you see all these people always flocking towards these people is because the people who run this shit over here run that shit over there, and it's all a play so they can go and try to, when they talk about the greater bleep bleep project or whatever, that's to take over all of them other places. And the first one was done during 9/11, right? The first two, because Afghanistan and Iraq, right? Right? And I think Syria was done when Obama was in. So Afghanistan, no, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Syria, right? First three, right? That was done, right? And then now they trying to do this shit. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact, my nigga. That's a fact. That's a fact. And it's all about resources. Just like how you see drug dealers used to fight for blocks and try to take over people blocks. It's the same goddamn politics, my nigga. Same politics, no matter where you go. So that's the reason for what's going on over there. But see, people already done seen this play already. And people are starting to get smart and starting to like, nah, we not. Y'all just, you can say we wasn't gonna go to no war. Now all of a sudden we going to a war because of these people. And like I said, we can't get reparations, but y'all niggas can give all these people all this motherfucking money. Why is that? Why we can't get reparations, but you can send all that money over there. But then when it comes to us, oh, we ain't got nothing for y'all. We ain't got nothing for y'all. The fucking smack in the face. And then they created, like I said, the Dawes Acts and all this shit to take the land. Because if they can control the land, they know we thrived off the land. We're naturally farmers. The farming makes you sovereign. That makes you not have to work a 9 to 5 to fucking go to fucking Costco's or BJ's or ShopRite or whatever y'all niggas got down, Piggly Wigglies and the Walmart and all this shit, nigga. If you growing the shit and you learn how to preserve the shit, and if you got live cattle or whatever, you don't have to. You doing your work, and you can control your outcome by you working for yourself. You understand what I'm saying? But then also too, look at how they broke that up, right? Look at how they broke that up. They knew part of your They knew part of your work system was your family, right? Part of your work system was your family. What did they do? Now they start pleading the women to get abortions, right? So now you can't have 15. You only want to have one child. So now you can't have 15 children to where two of them can do the laundry, two of them can go get the eggs from the hens, right? Two of them could be cleaning the dishes or washing. Two of the men can be doing carpentry, etc., right? So now you can't do that no more because they already persuaded you not to have children. So now you don't have a family, right? But meanwhile, all of these other motherfucking groups over here having families. They're not persuading these Mexicans not to have families. These Mexicans are having fucking steps. They got a baby, a toddler, a adolescent. What comes after adolescent? Pre-adolescent, whatever, teenager. They got these motherfuckers in steps, my nigga. They're not telling them not to have kids. And you know, son, those two, we're gonna remain powerless because a lot of even the people who leading us in these, like some of these communities, are dropping the ball. These conversations niggas ain't having because people don't want to get their channel flag and they don't want to get they don't want to get their monetization. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. I don't give a fuck about no views. I don't give a fuck. I mean, I'm only like at this point in time telling people hit the like button and do all that shit just so we can get the message out. That's it. But I don't give a fuck about no views. I don't give a fuck about no monetization. I don't give a fuck about no super chats. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. This is the mission is to come on here and talk about this shit to get people right. Excuse me. That's the mission. You're never gonna get it right because it's just like, oh well, just do your genealogy or whatever, and then find out you this. But then there's no other remedy for you being able to at least even be identified or recognized as a motherfucking American Aborigine. You got to go through some fucking Dawes Act, or you got to see who's on the fucking rolls. I remember when I first got into this shit. This is what motherfuckers talking about. Oh, pull the rolls up and all this other, all that fake ass shit of people of 15 so-called thousand so-called American Indians who went and traveled however many fucking miles when you got millions of American Aborigines still living in Tennessee, Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Florida, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey. And you talking about some fucking 15,000 people who on some fucking rolls? And people was trying to go back and see, oh, who's on the roll. You had millions of people who were still in the South, who all are Indians. And nigga tell me, oh, go look on the roads. No, go ask your family. This is the first wing of this. When I was here for this shit. I was here for this shit. When these niggas first start talking about and see the difference, even like when I heard Hakeem Bey say he was doing jihad, he wasn't talking about no fucking dolls rolls or none of this shit that I heard a lot of these fucking people saying. He wasn't saying none of that shit. And other people who was saying this shit before I heard people on YouTube talking about it. Go through the Eastern Band of Cherokees and all of these Bureau of Indian Affairs. And I just told you who the fucking nigga who created the Bureau of Indian Affairs. A fucking a KKK member. Yeah, this bitch Jasmine Cross. All of them motherfucker Democrats, my nigga. All of them. All of them. All of them is all the same. They all is fucking same, bro. They want to fight over here. The same shit you hear Umar Johnson saying. Oh, why you want to talk against the Hispanics? Because they talking against us. So we supposed to allow them to talk against us and just say, oh, well, we still need them to be our friend. No, we fucking don't. We ain't need them to be our friends before. And if anything, if they want to be our friends, they wouldn't come over here and give us no instructions or directions on what we should be doing when you came here to join us. But then that's a whole nother thing because they got them thinking that they're indigenous people and they got us thinking that we're fucking slaves and shit. So at the end of the day, man, like I said, man, be careful, man, on like, what y'all put in your heads and what you allow, even Tariq Nasheed. And like I said, the FBA thing, I ride with, but I ride with it. What you thinking a tauntaun is, motherfucker? Foundational, nigga. I came out the foundation, nigga. One sprung from the soil, nigga. What you thinking a tauntaun is? The original foundational American. Yeah. I mean, listen, y'all. I'm telling y'all, man. Look, man, this is the type of bills we gonna be doing. I'm not doing, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, out of the soil. That's right. These are the type of bills we gonna be doing. We gonna be doing more political shit and more shit that's going on with the world that's really affecting us, man. You know what I'm saying? All this like beefing with motherfucker going back and forth and shit. None of this shit is valid. All this shit is just some egotistical shit. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, man, I salute everybody out here that's pushing this information and trying to get us, trying to get the people, you know what I'm saying, heads right and trying to get us on the same wavelength. The FBA thing is okay, but at the end of the day, we are y'all are tanchons, right? That's a tanchin is ones, right? A tanchin is ones. It's not just a tanchin is one which is singular. A tanchin is ones is plural. Okay, y'all all are tanchin is ones, and this ain't under me. This is who y'all are. Y'all all are out of the motherfucking soil. So when these niggas tell you you are FBA, nigga, tell them, nigga, I'm a motherfucking a tanchan. Nigga can't even spell it. What is a tanchan? Oh, read it. Look it up. That's right. They believe they African slaves, my nigga. You understand what I'm saying? We didn't showed you who the slaves are. So if you acquiesce to being a slave, somebody didn't program you to be who they are. They didn't and look and think of it. Now I gotta go. I gotta pick my daughter up, right? What the fuck? Light snow, light rain. Hold on. Let me look out the window. I know goddamn well it ain't fucking snowing again. Okay, all right. Um um these people then program us from being gods to being savages and animals. You understand? Being savages and fucking animals. And niggas pride themselves on being that. Niggas pride themselves on being ignorant and not being educated. You understand what I'm saying? because you're around other motherfuckers who's uneducated, and the fact that you educated, they fucking try to bully you out of being educated. These niggas done bullied you into being ignorant. They done bullied you into killing your own children. They done bullied us into selling poison on our people. They done bullied us into killing our own fucking people, right? They done bully us into giving up the land. They done bully us into watching this bullshit that we watch, and you know what I'm saying, and going back and forth with things that we have with things that is not going to better us as people. So look, man, look, peace to the guys, man, peace to the goddesses, man. Um, Definitely, man. Every time I do a build, man, it's like, yo, I don't know, man. I feel good after doing a build, definitely. So, definitely, value, some of these bills and some of these messages that's coming out, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make sure the next build I do, I put together some content to where we can at least cross reference it to this bullshit that we being subjected to. Um, so definitely, man, shout out to everybody, man. Thanks for coming through. Definitely share the build out, man. I think it was a decent build. It was something quality build. Definitely shout out, peace to all the guys and all the goddesses, man. That's in the chat room. Peace to all the Atanchans. Peace to all the Aborigines. Peace to all the Indians. Peace to all the fucking Moors. Peace to the motherfucking gods and the motherfucking goddesses, because that's exactly who the hell y'all are. Okay? So with that being said, to the next one, y'all. Y'all take care of yourself, man. With that being said, it's your humble brother, Atanchinus one, aka A1, aka Hanu Kiel. With that being said, peace.